There's another way, a second way of having debates, and this is like the more effective, like public way of debating, and it's how people like Tate function, where you're actually selling isn't any individual fact, and in fact, the individual facts often don't even matter. What's more important is that you're selling a narrative, and that narrative can grow to encompass every facet of your life, and the narrative can be so powerful and so compelling, at some point, it literally doesn't even matter what your facts are. Like, you know, my narrative is that men are above women, men are the ones that are protecting women, men are the ones that are making the shots. So even if you come at me and you're like, well, what about the percentage of, what about the fact that more men get into dangerous accidents than women? I don't give a fuck. You're telling me you're gonna get in a car with a woman and let her drive you? Well, technically the answer, you know, statistically could be yes, but his narrative is so powerful, he can actually just steamroll you based on that without ever even having to engage with a factual argument.
Okay, yeah.
I think another issue that you kind of run into, if you could pick like one big thing that you thought like didn't work as well in that debate or why it was so frustrating, what would you think it would be? Like the one... If I ever can impart one piece of information onto your brains, okay, about these like red pill ultra alpha guys, as much as these dudes try to set themselves apart and as much as they try to show you how like alpha or ultra masculine are, remember that for these types of men, and really to some extent for all men, your ultimate sense of validation is never going to come from you. It's never going to be about your accomplishments or achievements. It's never going to be about any of that shit. It's always going to be about what women think about you. These types of men especially are slaves to what women think about them. And it's why anytime they can get any woman around them, they have to show them off. They have to have other guys seeing, because the ultimate sense, the ultimate test of a man is a woman, is to have the validation of a woman. And the more women you can get around you showing that like they like you, the better you can feel around other men. I don't like Tate and his opinions, but his self-care things he says, some of them are okay in my opinion. They're probably not okay. They're probably better than okay. They're probably really good. But again, that's the issue. That's the big issue with the left, is the left kind of like said, like young white dudes, we don't care about them anymore. They're all racist. So, okay, well in that case, the only people left to talk to young white dudes are probably gonna be people that you hate and don't like. Like, yeah, there's a problem of like complain about forever.
There's nothing respectable about.
Well, I live in here.
Now he's getting to make more prescriptive statements, but
that's about it. End of story.
It's going to be hard for xQc to push back at this
My
point.
ideas are not unusual most places on the planet.
How about you train me? How about you train me for next time I encounter some like an actual person like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to. A lot of it is just like through practice and repetition. I can always give you like advice or tips or whatever, but the one of the things. Or go ahead.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I can only say this here, not on Twitch. Okay, just making sure that my cover stays fully clear overall with the standings of the universe and the internet. Okay, yeah. I feel like I have a duty to like entertain at the same time. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I want to make it like punchy and fun. I feel like if I sit there and I just kind of like tone down and just kind of talk, it's boring as fuck.
Yeah, for sure. There are like there are strategies that you can use where you can be aggressive and look like the good guy. So for instance, like this is something that I talk about a lot. Like it's still fun to like roll around in the dirt and shit on people. You just have to earn the moment. And usually that'll come with like let's say I get into an argument with somebody and like I think this guy is like an insecure virgin fuck, right? If I open the argument with that, the perception of the audience is always going to be that like I'm super aggressive for no reason. But if I let this guy like have an argument with me for like and where I'm chill, we have a conversation, we're going back and forth for like an hour or something, or even maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and eventually he starts getting frustrated and loses the argument. If he tries to insult me, he calls me some whatever, and then I hit him back like, okay, well you're an incel virgin fuck. All of a sudden I have kind of like the right to say it. It'll come across as more earned or righteous than if you just open up with it, you know? Have you ever seen the YouTube channel Every Frame of Painting?
I think I might have seen a couple of his the videos.
Oh fuck! There's like an episode in that, and it has to do with like how Jackie Chan choreographs fight scenes.
Oh yes, no, yeah, I've seen the whole thing. Yeah, I said the video like I think 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. The concept is the exact same, right? The reason why it feels so good when Jackie Chan wins the fight is because he's usually fighting from behind, right?
Okay,
And it's the same thing in debates. If you let a guy take a couple shots at you, you can open up hardcore, and the audience is always going to be on your side. Because what the fuck, that other guy started it, like he went first or whatever. But if you open with insults, even if he does say fucky shit later, that impression is going to stick with people. Like, damn, dude, like you went on that guy for no reason. Like you look unhinged, you know?
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think one of my problems overall is being able to argue with somebody like that I don't agree with one of their core beliefs, whatever, right? But they don't really have like an argument they have a fundamental belief, and I'm on the attacking point, right? Where they live their own thought and their own belief. So they hear it and they rehearse it all the time because it's what they actually believe in, right? How do you go against that, right? And make an argument on the offensive that makes you, win, but also make you look like you're winning? Because I feel like
it's important to look like you win too, right? Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times it's kind of easy for him to just sit around and just kind of like say, oh no, it's not this and not that, and this is how it is, right? Without really arguing, and it's kind of like a very uphill battle.
So if you've watched a lot of my debate content, this is kind of a bad habit that I had early, and I'm still kind of trying to break this. There's kind of like two ways to approach having arguments. So one is going to be like this kind of like autistic fact-finding mode. This is usually how I like to function. Like if you want to argue with me about illegal immigration, okay, well, let's bring up the stats. Or like with you for the women driver thing, right? Okay, well, what are the stats? You know, what do male insurance rates are versus female insurance rates? What are the stats of who's more likely to get an accident? What are the blah, 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 and then you can debate that way. So that kind of like, I'll call this like autistic form of debating, works really well with other autistic people. And I like it. This is how I would prefer to do every convo. But that's not actually what most people are buying into. There's another way, a second way of having debates, and this is like the more effective, like public way of debating, and it's how people like Tate function, and most good public speakers. Where you're actually selling isn't any individual fact, and in fact, the individual facts often don't even matter. What's more important is that you're selling a narrative, and that narrative can grow to encompass every facet of your life. And the narrative can be so powerful and so compelling, at some point, it literally doesn't even matter what your facts are. Like, you know, my narrative is that men are above women, men are the ones that are protecting women, men are the ones that are making the shots. So even if you come at me and you're like, well, what about the percentage of, what about the fact that more men get into dangerous accidents than women? I don't give a fuck. You're telling me you're gonna get in a car with a woman and let her drive you? Well, technically the answer, you know, statistically could be yes, but his narrative is so powerful, he can actually just steamroll you based on that without ever even having to engage with a factual argument.
Okay, yeah.
The having like an overall narrative is really important. I think another issue that you kind of run into, if you could pick like one big thing that you thought like didn't work as well in that debate or why it was so frustrating, what would you think it would be? Like the one...
I think was tackling just bad hypotheticals that I didn't really think either mattered or displayed anything, or were generally I thought overall generally that all the hypotheticals were bad, not in like a they're dumb way, just in like if this is not going anywhere because nobody wants to like concede to a middle ground type of thing.
Sure.
Right.
So let's set aside the hypothetical thing for a second. In a really broad kind of like, I'm gonna say meta narrative kind of sense, like what was the whole conversation about? I think one of the reasons why that argument was so difficult for you was because you were the one making prescriptions. You were telling people how they ought to live their life, and he wasn't at all. When you're in that kind of a scenario, the onus is on you to like compel him to totally change his behavior. Yeah. Whereas he was really going to say like, listen, you live your life how you want to. I live my life how I want to. And as long as everybody consents to like my lifestyle, then we're good to go. And he was willing to make that concession every time. Like, now he might have said in other videos, he gave you a really good piece of advice. I don't know if he meant to, but he said in the beginning, if you wanted to argue with him, you had to bring specific points to argue about, because in other videos, he'll make strong prescriptions about how men ought to live their life. But in the video with you, he wasn't making any of those prescriptions at all. He actually came off as like really kind of like live and let live, which is a really hard position to argue against unless he's like literally killing people or telling people that they have to do something. So that puts you like behind like really hardcore at the start, I think.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's kind of like admitting that you're wrong, right? Or that something is like overall people will agree that it's bad, and at that point it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, then it's like
let's say that a guy
convince him to live otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the difference between arguing with a vegan versus arguing with a militant vegan, right? Like if you come into a conversation, you want to argue like up and down about like veganism against some guy that he's just like, well, listen, dude, I'm a vegan. If you don't want to be, that's fine, but I'm a vegan. You're gonna sound like an asshole the entire time because he's not telling everyone else to be vegan. He's just saying he's vegan. That's how he likes to live his life. But if you were against a militant vegan that's telling everybody else to be vegan, then now your arguments have a little bit more teeth because, okay, well, hold on, you're telling everybody that they have to do this, right? But in your arguments with Tate, it didn't seem like he was ever saying that, like, I think all people need to do this. He might have said it in other videos, but he wasn't in that one. So that shifts a huge, that's an almost unwinnable burden onto you, unless
because he feels, because I was like it was okay that it was a bad thing. Like
yeah, because things that you consider bad, to really make them be actually bad, you have to do a lot of work, like building out like entire concepts and narratives. That's like a lot of work for you to do, and that just didn't happen in that conversation, right? Well, why would it be bad to have this? And in order to say why his are bad, you then have to go on to, you have to suggest a competing framework, a whole different framework, because Tate has his framework of how men work and how women work and how their lives are. And if you want to attack or pick apart his framework, one, it's going to be difficult because he's not telling other people to follow it, and two, you're going to have to give an alternative framework to follow, which I don't think your mindset was in that doing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, it was kind of like operating with a whole different set of rules. Also, it's kind of like, he was saying like some of his takes or his thoughts are like cancelable, and he knows that, and he still chooses to engage in such ways, right? Or to have these arguments, or whatever, right?
Or what do you mean by that? Can you say that again?
Well, okay. So I mean, so basically, at one point he said like, oh yeah, I can say this because I can't get canceled or whatever, right?
Oh, the whole like being part of the Matrix thing or whatever.
No, I mean, I don't think that saying that you're not part of it is a problem. No, I think he had like some like woman takes or whatever the fuck, right? And he said, oh yeah, that's like how I live or how I think, and like I'm not part of these things, or like I'm not gonna get banned or canceled, whatever.
Yeah, I think that was, he was saying like he's not part of the Matrix. Like he can say what he wants to be, whatever, how he wants it. But you guys, you all have to say the same things, or else you're gonna get banned because you're part of the Matrix. You all have the same messaging, and if you're not on board with the same message, you're gonna get banned from everything. Whereas he's free to like be a truth sayer, basically. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, like this gets into like your past conversation or into debate territory at this point, but like the thing that I always find is when people say that, it's like you actually kind of said this, or Train might have said this, one of you two kind of said this. He's really just as much in the Matrix as anybody else. He's just
I said that. I kind of said
because he's got a whole group of an audience molded that really wants to hear a particular message, and he's giving them the message that they really want to hear, you know?
Yeah,
and they'll wrap this up in a way where they'll pretend like, well, they don't want to hear me say these things. These are hard truths. Of course they want to hear these hard truths because they get to feel like they're better than everybody else for hearing them, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, and at the same time, I mean, I don't want to be like I don't want to be like a weird like generalist like people do to like socialists, like socialist equals no money. I don't want to be like you have money, you're part of the Matrix. At the same time, like, he generates income from some places, and that need him to operate a certain way, right? And that is literally being part of the Matrix. Like,
sure, maybe. Although, keep in mind, for his thing, he was saying specifically that his viewpoints at least weren't being programmed by the Matrix. That he had more freedom to say or do what he wants or whatever. As opposed to other people that might be a little bit more like they have to say things not to get banned on Twitch, or like Trainwrecks used to say similar things to this, right?
Yeah, I am.
So I think one of the huge problems was that he had like an overarching narrative that he wasn't forcing into other people, but the way that you talked to him made it sound like he was. If you ever watch like Jordan Peterson debates that always go really bad for people, this is usually the reason why they go bad, by the way, because like Jordan Peterson, very rarely will he actually say like men or women ought to do this thing. He won't usually say that. He'll just make a whole bunch of observations, and then most people will assume what he's saying, but he's not actually saying it. And then when anybody tries to call him out on anything, he's like, oh, well, I didn't actually say any of that. I just made the observation that women suck ass in the workplace. I didn't actually say they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that was a big roadblock.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and Tate will do similar things too, yeah.
It's why I mean, I didn't really explain that well, but it's why I had the genuine thought that he was doing this like how did I call it again? Like building a big rock, right? That comprised of a bunch of small rocks almost. And yeah, I use that word a lot, like a blanket statement, right?
Yeah.
Like all this and all that. And if it's a monologue, he'll get away with this a million times, right? Where he says that. And then once you get down to it. Well, he doesn't even think that, right? That's not even one of his beliefs.
Doesn't think that. I think that in the little I've listened to him, he's pretty consistent overall, I think, with most of his beliefs. I don't think he's ever saying a bunch of things he doesn't believe in. Or if you think there are, you can ask me one and I'll see if I agree.
Oh, no. Like, he'll be like, all this, right? And then it ends up that they say, oh yeah, but that's not what I mean though. I mean like generally or whatever, right? So because I feel like saying all is a much stronger message than generally or most, right? But people know this, so they don't use the word most. They come in strong to have a strong message to people that listen.
Yeah, this
And
is
they
like a
say
different
all.
argument. So kind of like, so he'll say something like, he'll say like, women are worse drivers than men. And he'll say, well, hold on, that's not necessarily always the case, right? And he's like, oh, well, okay, I didn't say all women are worse drivers than all men. There's going to be some exceptions, just making a general point. So but the audience is interpreting it one way, and he probably knows that, but he's saying it in the way that's the most like optically effective or rhetorically effective, even if there are bad implications. But if you try to call him out on it, then he'll kind of retreat behind well, I didn't say all women are worse than all men, even though that's what most of the audience is kind of taking from the message, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my I think one of my main problems is that well, I think that's one of my main problems overall engaging with somebody like that is maybe I get caught up too much in specifics.
Yeah, well,
That's the thing, like the thing where it's like all, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
or go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying,
Well,
or go ahead.
because okay, well, also one last thing, because I watched like one or two of his videos for memes, and it was just like it was a lot of like, oh yeah, you get cheated on because of this, and they're getting cheated on because of this, and that's it, right? And the woman will cheat. It's like intended like, oh yeah, the woman will cheat 100% because it's woman, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's not really like that. It's not like all, you know? But then he doesn't think all either, but he'll parade that message over and over and over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I agree. It's that kind of like having it both ways. If this is kind of a more minor point that I don't think informed how the whole debate went. It's just like, these are like things to keep in mind. But there's I mean, like keeping track of stuff like that is, if anything, that's more of kind of like a rhetorical argument than anything that hits at the substance of anything he's saying, right? Because it might actually be the case that maybe he doesn't believe it's all versus all, but now you're getting into a debate about like, well, what's responsible messaging, which he probably doesn't care about at all, right? So that's probably not even a conversation worth having.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my main point. That was my main point with him. Like, I think I wasn't even that mauled at the guy or like anything like that. It's overall that like I just thought that most of his messages are deliberately said in a way, right, that he knows aren't entirely genuine out the gate, but when he doesn't engage into a dialogue, it's just a monologue, right? Well, nobody's there to say, oh, well, that's really like that, and I feel like that resonates a lot, and it echoes to people's head a lot when they hear those things, and I think it.
Maybe, yeah. Keep in mind that a lot of the problems that you're having, a lot of these smaller problems are coming down to that meta narrative that I said before was established. He has a whole way of viewing the world. So anytime you feel like you're making a point or getting him to some area, he's going to be able to give you like a really long, coherent answer that explains everything. There's kind of like 3 stages of like, of like debaters. Like the first stage is just like random losers that memorize a few facts and they don't really know anything, but they have like a few incorrect facts. And for those people, the autistic debate style works really well. You call them out on their bad facts and then you smash them and then you're good to go. Then the second level is people that have facts plus some really shitty, incoherent view of the world. So they might be like highly conspiratorial. So you call them out, you bust their facts, and then they try to retreat to some like weird conspiracies and you're like, okay, well, this is stupid as fuck. Like, you think the moon landing is fake or like the earth is flat? Get the fuck out of here, right? But then there's like the level 3 people. The level 3 people will have arguably bad or views of the world that might not necessarily be the most fact-based ones, but philosophically, they are completely internally coherent. Meaning that like you can ask them a lot of questions and talk about a lot of different topics, but they will be able to go in depth on every single area and defend it, and it will all be internally consistent. That's those people you have to watch out for, because to take apart a person like that, you're going to have a competing worldview in order to do it. Because when you try to like poke a hole, you're gonna, this is what happens, and it probably happened in your debate. I have to go back and look for examples. But what'll happen is you'll ask a question where you're like, well, this is obvious, like, and you're gonna get crushed when I ask you this simple question. But then they'll just answer it and own it, and you're like, oh shit. Well, I thought you would have been embarrassed to say that. Like, it might be something as dumb as like, would you let your woman? So you're telling me you wouldn't let your woman have any close friends that are guys? And you might be thinking in your world, well, according to my worldview, that's insane. He would never agree to that. But he's got a totally internally consistent worldview. He'll be like, yeah, of course, I would never let them do that. And now you look weak because you're like, fuck, I just like served this guy up an easy answer. You could try to push. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you let them? And they're like, well, because I don't think that men and women can be friends. I think that when men and women are together, men are constantly looking to fuck them. I think it's just a dick in reserve. And then, now he's going to be able to answer more and more. And you're like, oh shit, like I actually fucked myself. I'm like digging a hole. This guy can answer every question I give. It's fucking over. You have to be really careful with people like Tate who have what I would say are pretty consistent worldviews, because they'll be able to talk around any issue you give them and answer them in a truthful manner that just reinforces their worldview. Sorry, that was a lot. Did that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's just, no. I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's just like, it's kind of hard. Well, okay. When it comes down to these beliefs, well, I didn't know because a lot of these guys I went on the call. I mean, they were a bunch of bitches on the call, because I mean, a lot of them were like, oh yeah, I mean,
you did dick right or
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and then when they came on, they wouldn't say shit about it, which I didn't really give a fuck, because I don't need like backup, whatever. I went there trying to fucking have a conversation or whatever, right? So then, what was I talking about? Fuck, I lost my train of thought because I was talking.
Yeah, we were talking about like the internally consistent worldview. How do you fight against people like that? You said it's really hard. You mentioned there are other people on the call.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. Fuck. No, I was doing something important, because there was a couple roadblocks that we were hitting, like one time. Well, then I would actually have to ask you what your opinion is about that. The whole club thing, because in some people in my chat was saying that I don't have a good view of what the club is, right?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about this. So typically, when we're talking about like going to like the club, we don't mean like EDM raves and stuff, I don't think normally. Typically we're talking about a place where people usually go and they're kind of like looking for people to hook up with. Like the club or like certain bars is usually what we're talking about. I don't know if your impression of a club is different or if I'm wrong, but that's definitely Tate's impression of a club. Club is a place where you go to like dance and get drinks from guys that are looking to fuck you. That's essentially only like what a club is for women.
But I feel like these are usually fun, even when you go with people that you know that are, that was my experience of them. Like,
yeah, but it sounds like
private areas, like private lounges or whatever, and it's not really like, it's more private for us anyway. I went to them a bunch of times in the past fucking couple years.
Sure, but I'm saying that when I think when an average person talks about the club, or when Tate is referencing the club, those are the types of things that he's talking about usually. It's usually places where there are like no covers for women, because you're trying to pack as many women as possible, and then you're like have a bunch of women that are getting drinks bought by guys so that hopefully they can fuck them by the end of the night. That's like the goal.
Interesting.
Something else that this is really easy for me to say outside of a debate, and it's a lot harder to keep track of in a debate, but something else that I think you could probably work on a little bit is trying to extract like what is the point of a particular hypothetical, because there were a few hypotheticals that he asked you that I thought were fair, but it felt like you kind of wanted to get into the weeds on arguing particulars that weren't really getting at the essence of what the hypothetical was asking, you know? Like, let's say somebody said like, let's say that your child was sick in the hospital and he needed your kidney to survive. Would you donate a kidney to your child? Would you donate a kidney to your child for him to survive in the hospital, right? And then it felt like your debate afterwards, like, well, hold on, like, does my kid also have cancer? Is he gonna die after I give him the kidney? Or like, what if there's like an evil doctor and he steals my kidney, like after he takes it from me? Like, am I like in some country where they're gonna do it, right? Where you're kind of like changing the hypothetical in ways that were not, like they weren't really getting at the essence of what the hypothetical was asking. Train kind of got it back on track, surprisingly, but yeah. Like the big one I'm thinking of was like, who goes downstairs if there's a threat? Or like, would you sacrifice yourself to defend a loved one or child against like some perceived threat, like a mugger or a rapist or somebody breaking into your house?
Okay, so whenever I think of hypotheticals, I think I always try to keep in mind like what's the main point of the hypothetical is. I thought the main point there was like the sacrifice part type thing.
Well, the main point was that like in so Tate, you guys didn't explicitly talk about this, and I haven't actually watched any Tate videos, but I can already tell, I already know everything he thinks about this, right? So what Tate would probably say is that men and women fundamentally have different roles in life. And one of these differences is that men are expected to be the protectors, the people that have like the dignity, the honor, the strength, both mentally and physically, to be somebody that can protect their woman. So if there was a threat that arose and it came time for you to do something about that, would you be able to step up and fulfill that essential role of a man in order to protect your woman, right? So there's either two ways that you can fight that. Either one, you answer yes or no. If you're working within his worldview, you almost certainly have to answer yes. Otherwise, in his eyes, you're not a man. Or two, you kind of have to fight against his worldview. But in order to do that, again, you need to present your own coherent worldview. And I think sometimes, again, the biggest, weakest parts of your argument are that you were working from a hidden worldview because you'd never actually gotten it all out on paper. You didn't actually say, I view men and women like this, and I do this and this like that. From the entire conversation, whether you felt like it or not, you were always working from within his worldview. So when you start answering the question of like, well, me and my girlfriend, like, well, we would wait upstairs, we'd figure that, or blah, blah, blah. Like you were thinking of it from like this tactical or strategic point of view, but all he was hearing and all potentially his audience was hearing was this guy is unwilling to fulfill one of the most basic and fundamental roles of man. And he's willing to let his, girl die because he's unwilling to do that because you haven't given like a competing narrative.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I don't even have a conceived idea. Mm-hmm. As we're asking my worldview about this. Mm-hmm. It's not even that I'm not trying to get canceled. I don't even have a worldview about this shit. I don't even know what my vote. Sure. I mean, I'm being honest about it. If you asked me back then, I'd probably say the same answer. I would have been straight up about it because I don't have a worldview about this shit. So I don't know how that works.
Well, you do. You just haven't like verbalized it yet, right? You have some way that you see relationships in the world and women. You just maybe haven't like formalized all of it, like gotten it out on paper or like really thought about it such that you could write it all down or something, right? Because we all have ways in which we view the world, right? Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, then because I feel like some of these arguments were a little bit like I don't want to be rude, but like Jesse Lee Peterson fucking tier, right?
They're like, almost the same.
What's a man? What's a man? And then Peter's like beta, and I literally just feel like every chat as I'm playing this, and I see some guy saying beta, and it's like okay, then it's like okay, then I don't even know like how you would fight a narrative like that, just like.
You have to give like
if you say you want to be a gladiator in the arena and go down and die for stuff like I don't think I want to be an alpha in some of those scenarios.
Which like, is fair. Like, but the only issue is that like a lot of people around the world, at least in Western culture, probably in cultures everywhere. Whether we think these games are good or bad, a lot of people still play by these rules. A lot of people still play these games where women are valued for their youthfulness and their appearance, where men are valued for their accomplishments and their achievements. There's still, whether we like to admit it or not, even in the Western world, there are still pretty traditional views of masculinity and femininity that are kind of overlaid on all of our interactions. So people like Tate will pick up on that. They'll make those observations, which makes it seem like everything they're going to say is right. And then they'll go on to say like, well, this is how the world ought to be because they're the ones there. It seems like they're the only ones willing to make those observations. And when you're fighting back against it, it doesn't sound like you're fighting back against the things he's saying we should do. It sounds like you're fighting back against the things that he's observing that are almost certainly true, right? That women do prefer stronger men with more accomplishments, that men do prefer women that are younger and look more attractive.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. Then what is your view about that? Then how do you feel about that?
Well, about which thing in particular? When it comes to relationships for me, I view it as I don't like the binary of masculine and feminine because in the traditional sense of what women are in like Andrew Tate's worlds, those are children to me. I could never be with a woman that is as weak or pathetic as like a woman that Andrew Tate would probably view as like highly desirable. Like a really pretty woman that's gotten her like lips Botoxed up to like 7,000 fucking, cc's of whatever, who walks around in high heels all day that can't like carry a fucking Gucci bag or put it in the overhead compartment in an airplane. I could never be around a woman like that. She would drive me fucking crazy. So in my worldview, right, I have like there are masculine or feminine traits, sure, but I think there's a lot of overlap between like men and women that can have both collections of these traits. But I'm going to want a woman that's probably a lot more traditionally masculine in Andrew Tate's sense than what he would want. But I would push for like a worldview like that. Like I think that a partner should be somebody that you can do things with. A partner should be somebody that can challenge you, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
So it always makes sometimes when you feel like he almost wants a partner who's incapable or not going to do anything. It's just gonna
careful for what incapable means, because he'll say in his mind, well, no, I actually want a woman that's super capable. This is what Greek would say. I want a woman that's capable of taking care of my house, that's taking care of my children, that keeps me sexually satisfied as a man, because in his eyes, that's what the role of woman is. Remember, when you say words like capable, that's a normative word that's working with respect to like a particular norm. So for instance, like if I show you like a steel pipe and I say, is this capable? Well, capable of what? Of like working as like a mast for a ship, or is like working for like a syringe to stick in somebody's arm, right? In some senses, it might be capable, in other senses, it's not. But if you just say like, yeah, you want a woman that's not capable, he'll say, that's not true. I want a woman that's super capable. But what I want her, the things I want her to be capable of are gonna be fundamentally different than what you want her to be capable of, or me in this sense, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, okay, then that's the main point then, because then we're not working with the same components. It's like
exactly.
It's completely different components, because I want to be able to hold a conversation with somebody at a, at a certain degree, and if the person is like is good at doing the traditional duties of what you're saying are capable, right? Like a motherhood or fucking doing the bed and doing the kitchen or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's boring. You can tell he said it. He said it.
It's important that if they can't talk properly, then it's just gonna make me fucking depressed. I don't.
Yeah, and he said in your conversation, he was like, well, what? And I could tell, because there's an incongruence with how you view the world, whether you realize it or not, versus how he views the world, because you would ask him questions about like, well, how do you know that you're always going to be better than the woman? How do you know, blah, blah, blah? And his whole selling point is, I'm going to be more capable than her in every way. She's going to come to me with problems. She's going to come to me with things that only I can solve. She's going to ask me for advice on this and that. I'm going to be, because I'm capable. I'm a capable man. I'm going to be able to do this in every way. He's not looking for a quote unquote capable woman in the sense that the woman can do a lot of things that he can do. He's looking for a woman that's capable in his worldview, right? Somebody that is hot, keeps him sexually satisfied, fulfills the role of woman in his worldview, right?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but I still don't agree with it, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you don't, but you have to get that on paper, right?
Because otherwise, if you're working with these components, then yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why all of your arguments will seem to fall flat, because every time you try to attack him on it, technically, everything he's saying is true, because his worldview is totally internally consistent. It all works, and it all explains itself. So if you want to attack it, you have to like start arguing for, or at least laying out like a competing worldview. Otherwise, you're always going to be within his paradigm, and he's always going to be correct.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Wait, then I think you're being very neutral about everything. Is this something like you agree with or don't agree with, whatever the fuck? I kind of feel like I'm
Agree with his worldview or your worldview?
His worldview, I guess, or mine, or if anybody, to be honest, just anything at all.
I mean, I don't know explicitly what yours is, but mine is probably a lot closer to yours than anything else. I hate his worldview. It's super boring to me. I would never be able to live in a world like that. But maybe a lot of people need to, but I don't know. But traditional gender roles and shit, like the women in that world are literally retarded children. I would never be able to stand it, ever. I could never respect a woman that comes from that world. That sounds really mean, but sorry.
Yeah, and what about the, like using words like, oh yeah, I mean, they're just going to obey and that's about it.
I mean, again, that comes from, in his worldview, like women sit at the bottom of the hierarchy compared to like men and women. Like women are meant to kind of like take orders or obey or et cetera, et cetera. Not like in a negative sense. If he's smart, he would say that in different ways, but he's probably trying to be provocative, right? There's going to be like some honor to that role of being a woman fulfilling your man. But again, I view it as way more of like a co-partnership type of thing. I don't want a woman that's just going to sit there and take orders from me and obey me. Like that's the most boring shit in the world. I'm going to steamroll that woman in like 2 days and we're never going to talk again because I'm going to get bored.
Okay. Then to me, it feels like this makes sense. Having, I mean, I guess from his perspective, right? These worldviews make sense. I guess I was battling an impossible point. I was just like, I guess not taking a step back. I guess I understand it. It's like an impossible to win battle, right? Since in his eyes, it's okay to preach his message or whatever to the people because of his living standards and his overall thing. But I feel like if you apply this worldview and these living standards to random normal people, I mean, I think it's like a complete disaster. Kind of. So what you have to do, there's 2 steps you have to do, and these are really hard. I'm saying all this like you can just do this, but it takes a lot of work. This is like a really, I don't even know if I could do this in a conversation with him. It'd be really challenging. But like what you have to do is 1, you have to show a competing worldview. That's the easy part though. And that's already really difficult. But 1, you have to give an alternative worldview. And then on top of that, you have to show that your worldview will produce better outcomes for the people listening.
That's the hard one, because keep in mind that all these people with these competing worldviews, one, they're really successful in the eyes of their fans. So they're already getting what they want out of their worldview. And then two, these guys will bundle it with like self-help shit as well to build them towards accomplishing that worldview. So like there's probably a lot of people that can get the type of relationships that Andrew Tate has if they can do all the things that Andrew Tate says. It's up to you to provide a competing model where you're like, well, if you do these things, you can have this type of life instead that I think is way better. And then you have to convince them that that's better.
Okay, I think, okay, fair enough.
That's going to be hard though, because Andrew Tate's already built out a whole platform doing that. So he's technically ahead of you because he's gotten all of that out of the way before he even comes into the conversation.
Yeah,
people already know what he's about.
Like I said, his points are like rehearsed or like by heart or like his bread and butter.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I don't even have my worldview down.
But that's his job, right? Literally. So it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to step in and just kind of like tango. Because normally we show like, we win debates by either debating facts or showing contradiction, right? Like, oh, you're just wrong on this fact. He's got a grand narrative. He doesn't give a fuck what the facts are. And then you can show a contradiction like, well, what about this and that? Like these things don't make sense. His worldview does make sense. He's thought about it the whole time. Like that's all he talks about on TikTok. So the two easiest ways of like winning the debate are completely off the table. And now you have to go like hardcore into like, okay, well, here's my view of the world, and this is why I think it's better. And Andrew Tate's is garbage because of these reasons, which is a way more involved conversation. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, the only thing that I found was pretty crazy is the people that are in his view like brokies and like actual plebeians and wages, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, from his perspective and his definition, like parade his message,
but they'll never.
They will never get that. I mean, they will with what he preaches, whatever. Mm-hmm. They're setting themselves to be rejected, mm-hmm. cheated on, and whatever the fuck, and they have no leverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know?
I mean, and that could be one thing that you point out, right? That's similar to how you can attack some streamers who give bad advice, right? You can say like, okay, Andrew Tate, you can live your life this way and be ultra selective with women and have all these rules because you happen to be like a multimillionaire guy, but like the majority of men listening to you are never going to be multimillionaires. That's bullshit. Like you're literally lying to people, selling them that idea that some guy that's listening to you that's 37, making $35,000 a year with no college degree is all of a sudden going to up his game and become a multimillionaire. At that point, you're selling a pyramid scheme. So maybe it's better to teach people how to build meaningful, healthy, happy relationships that don't rely on playing like the ultra high status game that you can play in Vegas because you happen to be a multimillionaire at age 35.
Yeah. I mean, also in a lot of ways, I feel like whether you believe it or not, I feel like I mean, most of the behaviors, in my opinion, show just like an underlying insecurities, right?
That's a really hard one to go after. Like you can show insecurities, but remember that an insecurity, that's an insult that I think you kind of have to earn. If his view is totally internally consistent and he's got his definitions of masculinity and it seems like he adheres to everything pretty well, just calling him insecure over and over again, I think makes you look weak in that argument.
Yeah, I don't think I did that. I think I hit a decent point where I ended up breaking down the argument to something simpler, like fear. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you kind of dispelled the argument by just saying it's not fear.
Yeah,
over and over again.
So I don't know how much the audience is perceiving it just because I'm arguing with so many people. So this is the reason why I would say like his worldview doesn't actually involve fear. The way that he's well, it might, but you've got to drill down really hard to get there. What his argument about the club thing is, what he's essentially saying is that the reason why I don't want my woman going to the club isn't because I'm afraid that some guy is just going to walk and scoop her up. It's for two really big reasons. One is because the club is dangerous, and my role as the masculine versus her role as the feminine, her role is to be conquered by men. My role is to be the conqueror, and once I've conquered, my role is to protect. So why would I send her into a battlefield to be conquered by other men, even if she doesn't want to be? And he even gave examples of rape and stuff later, when my role is to protect her. That's like sending my car in a broke neighborhood and leaving the doors unlocked. Why the fuck would I do that? That's one. And then two, since you're going to the club looking for attention from men, if he's dating a woman, he's going to say all the attention you need, all that masculine attention should be coming from me. Why do you feel like you need to go to the club to get that type of attention?
I feel like if that was the core problem, the dangers, mm-hmm. then the first stop in that argument, mm-hmm. or the first, location mm-hmm. to talk about wouldn't be the club in that case. There's a lot of places that are more dangerous. If you were if you're talking about purely in a defensive manner or in a protective manner, right? About somebody, the first location you think of isn't the club.
No, but
Right.
that's what came up. Whatever you're about to say that you think might be a no, he would just say like, oh, I wouldn't let her go there either. So if you're about to say like, well, what about if she could go to, he'd be like, oh yeah, no, she shouldn't go there either. Or oh no, like she should be protected there. He would just agree with whatever. You can give an
So
example.
that seems like a very like
Keep hating your life.
strong
then.
shield against all arguments that you could make that are about fear, which point at consequentially at insecurity somehow. Because that's kind of why I didn't agree. I was kind of like, okay, it seems like this is like an insta win type of points. Like you can't even debate that. It's like, I mean,
the reason why it
makes
feels
sense
like
if you're a listener, it makes sense to you, right? But like, imagine if you were in a relationship and you said that to your partner. I feel like 90% of the time, with overall female individuals, that would never work.
wait, hold on. 90% of the time, what was the word you just said?
With normal girls in a relationship, that narrative would never stick. I mean, they would never fall for that shit. Like, it's not
The type
too
of girls
shallow. It just seems like a easy, flimsy shield of like counters all arguments. Like, oh yeah, although tonight you can't go there. Obviously, it's too dangerous, and it's my role to protect you. Sorry, but no, you can't do this either because I'm ready to protect you, and you can't. It's too dangerous. Sorry. Oh, you want to go out and actually take the subway and go downtown? Well, you can't do that. Sorry, because my duty is to protect you as a male, and you can't do that. Sorry.
Well, like taking the subway downtown to do things is going to be different because there's other reasons why you might need to go somewhere, right? The problem is just like the club is literally, in Andrew Tate's eyes, the club is a hunting ground. The only reason a woman is going there is to be conquered. That's the only reason. But he was willing to say, he was even being somewhat reasonable. He was willing to say that maybe in some crazy other examples, it's okay for her to go to the club. Like if her girls are having a party and she's got like armed security, or there's like a actress and she needs to go to blah, blah, blah.
No. His hypothetical was that he had to be there.
Sure. Well, he mentioned that on the end, but like he would probably be willing to concede if you were to ask him like, what if there was like an all girls night at the club where they were having a birthday party and like champagne and blah, blah, blah. He'd probably like, yeah, sure. In that case, it's fine. But in the normal setting of the club, to him, the club is a hunting ground where men go to conquer women. So why would you ever send your woman into that hunting ground? That's his perspective. And from that point, if you say like, oh, well, you're just insecure because you don't want your woman to be conquered, he wouldn't say like, well, no, it's not that I don't want my woman to be conquered. There's no reason for her to be there. She's only going there to be conquered, and her going there is like a risk, and she shouldn't even need to go there. She's with me. Why would she need to go to the club?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I guess it's all like worldview shit. It seems like it's like a not an insta loss or insta win. It seems like it's like an insta brick wall.
It is a brick wall because it's a whole brick mansion that he's built that is internally consistent. If you want to start hitting at insecurities, those insecurities are only going to come up. It's not going to be in his worldview because remember, he's got it's only going to come up when you present an alternative model, and then he starts pushing against some parts of the alternative model, right? Like if Or go ahead.
No. I mean, it's people knew this ahead of time before I ever went on there, which was like kind of like an important thing. To me, it's not about the person saying the message that's that big of a problem. It's usually like me knowing how that message resonates with people that are listening or watching, right? And I feel like, I mean, I'm pulling stats out of my ass literally, but I would assume at least 90% of the people listening, right, would do these things out of insecurity.
Absolutely, for sure. There are a lot of people that buy into these messages for different reasons, right? Like, and insecurity is probably going to be a big one of those. Why some people might, for sure.
Yeah, it's like a massive thing. And I'm like, I know that those people are thinking right now, like 100%.
That is true, but
for him, he resonates it in a way that's like makes sense for him and his life and his lifestyle. And I get it now. Maybe it's not an insecurity. I'm not fully conceding because I'm like, the way the guy sounds like it comes across sometimes. Sorry, I'm not going to concede that point. But still, to people, yeah, no shot. I'm sorry. You're not going to get a fucking a random one of his listener, brokey cuck, like he calls them, like a brokey cuck. Okay.
Who's telling his girlfriend like you're not allowed to go out?
I'm the man of the house. Okay, I make $8 an hour. Okay, sit the fuck down. I'm taking care of us. Right? Now you're not going anywhere because I'm the protector of the family. But you know,
he's actually terrified that she'll find somebody different. But he's like copying Andrew Tate's like top level shit. And he's thinking he's like got the fundamentals down. But that's probably the case. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that was more because I guess I'm always more of like a viewer than a streamer a lot of times.
Sure.
So I always, it's like almost like I'm listening to myself or I'm listening to people more than I care about them saying it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. Or you're thinking about impact on the audience more than the speaker themselves, right?
Yeah. So
a really good
how
example.
It resonates immediately.
Yeah, just be careful because like sometimes in our own heads we can build up these ideas where we think the audience is perceiving us one way, but it's because there's so much that's been done in the background. I had to learn this the hard way sometimes. There are people that I debate who I think that like, you look so ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll check like YouTube comments, even in my things afterwards. This used to be a problem where people like wouldn't side with me at all. It's like, how can you guys not be on my side? Don't you remember when they did this and that and that and that and that? And people are like, no, I had no idea about that. I didn't know he tweeted that. I didn't know he made that video. And I was like, okay, fuck. So something that I had to keep in mind was if I'm gonna make these arguments that like people are taking you a certain way or these types of people are being a certain way, you have to be able to point, you have to lay the groundwork. You're gonna say like, well, I saw this video of a guy that supports you. Or in your case, what you could have maybe brought up is like an example of like an average fan that you have that's taking your message, they're taking all the right words, but in the wrong way would be Greek. Right? Where Greek is like copy pasting all of Andrew Tate's top level positions, but on Greek, they sound way more insecure, right? Because Tate was really confident and comfortable to be like, listen, dude, you live your way. You do what you want to do. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. You know, we'll see who does better. But Greek was like, you have to follow what I'm saying. You have to do what I'm saying or else your life is going to be miserable. You have to do it, right? And when Greek says it that way, it comes off as him like, even though he's trying to be independent, it sounds like he desperately needs you to approve of what he's saying. He needs you to be like, X, you got it. Like, listen, I'm telling you like what you need to do, like, please understand. Whereas Tate's like, you should do this. If you don't want to, fuck you, do what you want. I don't care, right? It comes off completely differently.
Yeah. Yeah, all this makes a lot of sense.
So what I'm saying is that like, if you think the audience is taking something a certain way, you have to build that out. You can't just assume they're all hearing it. You got to be like, like that would, what you just asked me would have actually been a really good question for Tate. And I again, I don't know if he's like dishonest on it. He might have engaged with honestly. If you say, Tate, for the people that listen to your content, how many men do you think can implement this in the right way versus how many are going to like scream at their girlfriends like, you're not allowed to go out of the house, and they're just doing it because they're scared that she's going to like up to like a high value man or something, right? Like that would be a really good question for him. Yeah.
Because all I could hear is the people that always come in and say, nah man, I go to my girl's phone. Nah, I do this. Nah, my girl. Nah man, I can't do this. Or all I see is just like crazy insecurity. Mm-hmm. And every time I see it, it's like it's almost like it's like back in style almost, right? Mm-hmm. We're having like more and more of that somehow. Maybe I've been like not around the internet that much or some shit. I don't know. Like a big wave of like massive men insecurity out of the woodwork.
Yeah. For sure.
People be like, oh no, this is cuck. Oh no, you can't do this. No, this is cuck. When it's like, mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think you understand how that works actually, and they just don't get it, mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. The red pill shit is definitely making like a huge resurgence coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was really odd. That's all. No, literally back in style. I think that I said it right. Literally back in style. Like it's something that I'm not like accustomed to. Like I don't see it very often. At least before, it was happening less often. Coming in with people and saying like, yeah, you should look through your girl's phone or whatever. Yeah, when you think something is bad, yeah, just go through your girl's phone. I don't really agree with that like at all. Mm-hmm. I'm someone who's very like how do you call that? Like trusting and like I don't know, not think the worst and not live my life like in a complete like doubt and disarray of like, oh dude, maybe this is happening behind my back. Oh my god, this is happening behind my back. And I don't live in that. I think that's like so
actually
like self-torturous. Yeah, it's so like self-torturous. I don't want to live that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that like on a broader political level, I think something that kind of happened is like in outside of the gaming world, we kind of spent a lot of time like shitting on men, talking about toxic masculinity and talking about how like feminists, women and people of color and everybody needs representation and like white people are evil and men are evil and rapists and blah, blah, blah. And we kind of hammered that message into people for so long, probably over the past like 5 or 10 years, that I think there's like this whole group of kind of like young men that feel a little bit like unspoken to, or a little bit ignored
Yeah.
or neglected. And now other people, originally it was people like Jordan Peterson and everything, kind of like stepped in to pick up the slack. And it's like, okay, well, if all of these people on the left are going to kind of like brush you off to the side and say that you're all rapists and horrible and you can't be proud of being white and blah, 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 well, I'm going to pick up that slack and I'm going to be the one to give you the life lessons and talk to you. And I think that's where this kind of like resurgence of stuff is coming from. You're seeing like, I don't know, like you're seeing graduation rates in schools now of like 60-40 in favor of women, out earning men in college. And the coronavirus just grew that gap. Or not out earning men, but out graduating men. And you're seeing like all this messaging and all these pushes for people of color and everything. And it's just, it's really, really, really bad that the left just like abandoned young white men and just basically threw them to the wolves. And now the wolves have come to collect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And even in chat, people were saying. I mean, I wonder what you take about this is on my take then. What your kind of take is about trust and boundaries and it comes down to blind because people were saying. Because I'm here in chat because I'm usually the kind of a decent reflection of your thoughts since you narrate so much on your stream. There's saying always being naive or whatever, right? And my self narrative is usually kind of goes like this, and it's kind of always been like this, like almost like an ideal. I get it. Sometimes we don't get to the ideal, right? Mm-hmm. But I'd rather like live, being the best that I can, showing that and knowing that my partner sees me as the best fit, right? Mm-hmm. And that they're loyal, whatever, right? And not displaying like weird insecurities and a weird whatever, right? And then I'm always at peace, knowing that nobody's like behind doing dumb shit or whatever, right? And it's easy for me to justify not going to somebody's phone or not going to their computer or their emails or whatever the fuck. It's easy for me to justify it, right? So even if a relationship lasts like 5 years, that entire 5 years, I live in like actual peace of mind. I can go to bed, right, knowing that there's not somebody tomorrow that's going to show up at her work or at a party, whatever. That's going to be better. And there's a good chance that she's going to come talking to that person or engaging in a way that will make me feel discomforted or make me feel sad or rejected, whatever. And then I'm like, it's like peace of mind. And if that happens, that out of all relationships, right, one person cheats on me because of that, oh my God, I got cheated on. And people were like, yeah, maybe he did get cheated on. Maybe. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy, man. So let's say somebody lived in fear for 20 years in all their relationship and he got cheated on once and he was like, yeah, well, I was right? I would rather do the opposite of living in kind of like internal peace,
yeah,
right, and full of confidence, and be like, oh, I got cheated on once. I mean, bro, it was worth it because I got to live in peace for so long. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm kind of.
I understand what you're saying, but there's like a that's a way bigger argument that you have to flesh out. You can actually kind of distill this argument down into one like kind of real life hypothetical, or it comes up a lot, or it's happened a lot. Like, let's say that your significant other cheated on you, like at the start of your relationship, but then you're 10 years in and she hasn't cheated on you ever again. Would you want to know? Now, people will argue back and forth like viciously over that.
Okay, well, in your hypothetical, I mean, we're kind of starting off the back. We're starting off the back foot because I would never explore that option because I would never be with somebody that cheated.
Well, no. But I'm saying you don't know they cheated. So let's say somebody cheated on you at the very beginning of your relationship, and you never found out about it, and then you're like 10 years in. Would you want them to tell you? Because in your worldview, it seems like the answer is probably, they probably just shouldn't say anything. And
then they should tell me, and then we could break up.
Yeah, exactly. But if they don't tell you, then you're okay. But for some people, these are like different values of like some people don't believe in the concept of ignorance is bliss. Some people would say like, no, I would want to know. Even if there was some piece of knowledge that would make my life worse off, I'd want to know because I would never consider that relationship real. So they'd want to know even if it made things worse,
Okay, so then this is one of these things. It's kind of like Tate, where you kind of, and I hate to say it, I'm not really challenging that much. Well, you would have to disprove me, right? You would have to tackle my view, right? And say, well, okay, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? And then you go through her phone, do you break her trust in the way that you feel that she would have betrayed your trust by cheating on you, by going through her phone and distrusting that person? What are the alternative of the course of action that you would take in that if that's the case?
I don't know about the going through phone example, I could think of good answers that Tate could give from his worldview, but I don't know what his actual position is on it. Like, my guess would be if...
No, I'm not asking yours, actually. I'm actually yours, because...
Well, I'm always in open relationships because I don't give a fuck, so I'm a bad person to ask. But, because I don't care what my partner does. But like, well, actually, I'll give that. Let's say I was in a monogamous relationship. I'd probably give an answer that I would hope is similar to what Tate would say. What I would say is that like, if a relationship has gotten to the point where you're going through text messages, it's already fucked. Like, just leave. Like, find some different shit. But I say that with somebody with a lot of options. Then
we're going this then.
Yeah.
I think.
And I think Tate should say the same thing. If you're like snooping through your girl's phone because you're worried that she's cheating, like some shit is already completely fucked. Either you feel like you don't have her respect, or she actually doesn't respect you. In which case, you should just leave and figure shit out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like the root cause or the root behavior that makes you go through somebody else's phone, or the most ways that people will express, in my opinion, if I'm wrong, most ways that people will express when they feel insecure, they think that they're being cheated on, right? Doing these things and these behaviors will actually be like
it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it'll be chummed because of this. Because I mean, nobody wants to be with somebody that's insecure. So you want somebody to stand tall and be proud, right? You want somebody to be, like that's just kind of my view, right?
But that's most people's view. I think most people agree with that. Yeah. You can turn partners off by being like too overprotecting, especially as a guy. Being like really clingy can be like one of the most toxic possible things you could possibly do in a relationship.
I mean, it's just cringe and unappealing and a major turnoff. I mean, both. Fucking mentally, fucking physically. I mean, it's just, it's just. To me, that's just such a turnoff. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I'm not gonna get all the way. I'm just going over chat to see like what people are at about this. A lot of people seem like are kind of like resulting to it's almost like them saying that I can live like that because of like status or this or that. Maybe it makes them feel better about like maybe their situations or whatever. I feel like that's like it's not the way. I feel like a lot of people do it that way. Right?
Yeah, maybe. You always have to give this kind of like caveat at the end, and I always say this shit too, is that like as streamers, our lives are always going to be like a little bit different, but like that doesn't mean
for sure.
That doesn't mean that there aren't general rules that you could probably apply to life. Like you can answer that in a very stocky way, like, oh, okay, so since you're not a streamer, you're gonna have to be like a little cuck shy, like insecure loser for your entire life then, I guess, because you're not a streamer. That's how you want to live. If you want to live that way, that's fine. But like even for non-streamers, like men being ultra clingy is literally the #1 like death knell to like pursuing new girls. When you're the guy that's sending the text message like right after you part, and you're sending like 5 messages because she hasn't responded or whatever, that's not streamer advice. That's just like real world dating advice. Like any guy that does that is gonna like turn off any fucking girl. It doesn't matter who you are.
But then people are like, yeah, but you did that, and they're okay with it because status or money. So it's like when people it's kind of like almost the same narrative of when people that are very unattractive kind of overly feel like, oh yeah, I mean, if I was attractive, it'd be easy. So yeah, it's easy for you. I mean, yeah, because you're attractive or whatever. It's almost like I have it worse type of like uphill debate type shit.
Sure.
I think it's stupid.
I mean, yeah, they might, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Okay, because a lot of times people say, "Oh, you have a girlfriend and you're rich. Well, you don't have a girlfriend because you're rich, right?" That's it, and that is the absolute #1 argument. And for them, it's like checkmate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean, what are you gonna? I mean, in that case, just go ahead and get rich if that's your But I mean, like, are you saying that the only men with girlfriends are the men that are rich? Are the guys that are rich? Like, there are people that get girlfriends and shit without being rich. Like, this happens, right? So, but I mean, in that case, it just becomes a matter of like personal virtue. Are you going to resign yourself to a life of cuckoldry because you've decided that since you're not rich, you're never going to find a girl? If you want to, that's fine. But then why even comment on anything? Like, go play RuneScape.
Finding a girl and building a relationship is a complete different story. Like this where you got. He says, if I had X money, it would be easy, right? I was getting girls way before I got into any of this, right? And I'm not even saying this because I feel like because I feel attacked. I'm just saying that getting a girl isn't like a big deal, right? It's usually building a relationship that's founded in commitment, trust, and like just good values, right? That's a true challenge. And that happens whenever you have status, no status, money, no money. It's just kind of how it is.
Sure.
And
yeah, and like being
don't-
rich can like open up your opportunities for sure. But I mean, like that's going to be the case with like anything you do to achieve status. Like doctors are going to have more reach, lawyers are going to have more reach, people that are popular, famous, wealthy. Like that's always going to be the case. But I mean, like, how old are you again?
26.
26. Fuck, you've been streaming for like 3 years or how fucking long have you been streaming? I don't even know.
I mean, 6 years. But
Okay, so like you spent all this time like building up streaming as a career. Like hopefully you have something to show for it, of course, you know. Like I always said, whenever people are like, oh, like if you weren't a streamer, like no girl would like you. Well, yeah, of course. If I wasn't a streamer, I'd be 33, like doing nothing else. Like, what do you mean? What can I be something else instead of a streamer? Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I've been streaming for 12 years. I would hope it would help me get some kind of girl.
I mean, imagine if it made this argument about physique or whatever. Somebody spends like 5 years at the gym and he just says, well, I mean, you're only getting a girl because you go at the gym. Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of did go at the gym and work for that body the whole time. So, I mean, in that regard, I mean, I guess.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like telling a guy like, oh, yeah, like you only get girls because like you look good or whatever. It's like, well, we put a lot of work into looking good. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Tate said something similar where I don't remember either you or someone else challenged him with something like, oh, like they don't even really love you because you're like, because they're going after you for status or success or wealth or whatever. He's like, well, I don't think that's a bad reason to go after somebody, which is a true point, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of hard to counter argue. I mean, there's no real winning there either. Yeah, like I said, it's just sometimes it's kind of weird to see the way that these people will construct these arguments. Like, oh, if you have something good that I don't have, that's the only reason why you have anything else. Right?
I mean, it's coped, right? Because it makes you feel better about yourself if you can say like, well, the only reason they did that is because of that, or the only reason they did that is because of something that's impossible for me to have, right? That's always like the cope everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, I think just me being here, I think the message was spread out a lot, probably just on the internet overall, and maybe you're getting like a lot. Because I was in your chat off stream for like about 4 minutes, I imagine, and the chat was a certain way, and now it's like a complete different thing.
Wait,
it's like
which chat?
Oh, your YouTube chat.
Oh, so I've been like intersecting with a lot of conservatives. Like my YouTube chat is probably going to be literally.
No, but before I got on, it was actually pretty decent. I saw some good takes about like relationship stuff and women's stuff. And now that I get on, I see like a bunch of like weird names and just like actual dog shit in the chat. It's like
yeah, there's we got a lot of new conservative brothers in there who are slowly being blue pilled, slowly but surely. We're mixing in with their cereal, so.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, it's always. I mean, the goal is always to build something fulfilling. It's why you want to get a partner, right? That also feels fulfilled. That's why I think it's a big oversight in a lot of people, right? They don't care that their partner feels fulfilled, but in a way, like kind of like a cycle, right? You feel fulfilled, they feel fulfilled. It's kind of like a good thing, and kind of underplaying like their needs and what they need to be fulfilled. At the end of the day, your relationship will be less fulfilled, and it'll be less healthy. It's just kind of how it is.
Potentially, just be careful. Remember, anytime you use words like that, fulfilled, happy, doing the right thing or whatever, that's always going to be with respect to certain systems. And if another person has an internally coherent system, then they're going to agree with everything you're saying, but they're going to mean something totally different. Because in Tate's world, a really attractive 23-year-old woman that can take care of a house that lands a man like Tate is going to be really fulfilled, even if she doesn't do anything in life. Just by virtue of landing that man, she might feel fulfilled.
And how do you feel about that?
I think it's stupid as fuck, but that's like, this is a pretty good. Have you ever heard,
good.
there's a Dave Chappelle quote.
You see when I talk to you, that's my problem with talking to you, is that I don't need your validation on some of these arguments, but I feel lost in what is the correct school of thought, or what is the correct scope I should have about something, right?
Yeah.
Because you say, oh yeah, I mean, he's saying this and he's saying this and you're saying that. I'm like, okay. Like, am I in the right direction with this? Like, am I going at the right place? Not that I want to be taught the correct way, or at least giving me the tools to formulate a better thought if mine isn't that great.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say who's right or wrong. I'm just trying to show you a different perspective. You know what a cylinder is? Like the 3-dimensional shape? Yeah, like you're standing in front of it and you see a circle, and a guy is standing at the side and he sees a rectangle. And I'm just trying to explain to you why he's arguing that the thing that you see as a circle has 4 corners. And I'm trying to say, look, it actually really does have 4 corners in his viewpoint. I'm not trying to say that that's the fact that it does. I'm just trying to explain how from his perspective, this is why it has 4 corners, even though you're looking at a circle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah, because when anytime I think about some of this shit, I'm always like, okay, then all that I see on the internet, let's say somebody is born with a certain amount of money with their parents or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then they reach certain goals, and then everybody says, well, he only got it because he's got money, mm-hmm. right? So I guess everybody is wrong type of shit, or everybody is right. I'm not even sad about this. I don't even know what the fuck to think about this. So it's kind of like, well, how does somebody that's born with advantages or earn certain advantages, how do they reach a point? Like, can they have stuff?
So
right?
the reality is, this is like the reality is that none of us are, there's a phrase called no man is an island. And it's true. Like if you're wealthy and you're intelligent, you're going to give a lot of credit to the people around you. Like no intelligent man that's accomplished a lot is ever going to say, I did this all on my own. You're like, he should readily admit like, yeah, I grew up wealthy. This is what I did with it. Yeah, I had all these advantages. This is what I did with it. It doesn't mean he doesn't deserve any credit at all, but it would be pretty stupid to take credit for everything. But that's always just going to be like the way of the world. And then when you've got haters that are pointing the other direction, all you can ever say is like, yeah, you know, some people do start out with advantages that you're never going to have. What are you going to do about it? Or you just kill yourself if you're just going to cry about it all day, because that's never going to change. Like you always have to do you always have to do with what you have and do the best with what you have. Like there's no other alternative way about it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, that's just an odd thing I see often. I don't know what to think about it. Mm-hmm. Like I can't formulate a thought on how I feel about that phenomenon, you know?
That some people
I just think inherently I think it's stupid.
The thought that other people can start out ahead of you, or? No,
how people treat them. Knowing certain things, whatever. Like sometimes people even even though they don't know, right? Mm-hmm. They would literally assume that I was born with money and certain advantages mm-hmm. when I wasn't, right?
Oh,
just
sure.
to almost fill in the blanks to make that argument. Mm-hmm. Like that's like 2 layers deep. In my opinion, flawed in this argument. Because in my opinion, the argument initially is pretty bad, mm-hmm. right? But then you're like, even to get there, you have to. Make false claims or like false assumptions.
Sure.
For people
that are wrong, that's just a fact of life. You have to deal with it. It just sucks. When I talked about like housing and shit, like a lot of people say shit about me, like, oh, Destiny doesn't know anything about like moving apartments. Like he's been streaming his whole life. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? You're so wrong about everything. But like people say that shit about me literally all the time. I see that prep up all the time. I've always been wealthy and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, but I mean like that's a different thing that goes along with just being like a public figure / streamer. Like people are always gonna get parts of your background wrong or whatever. There's nothing you can do about that.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. I'm not debating chat. I'm just literally just fucking reading some of this shit, because this doesn't only apply to me. It applies to other people as well. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I'll watch a video mm-hmm. and like somebody like was born with like a certain amount of money mm-hmm. and he achieved something really cool and something really unique or creative. We're like, yeah, but he had money or whatever. And I'm like, come on, man. Like that's just gonna.
Yeah, I mean, you can still like celebrate the achievement. Like it's stupid. Even if they did have advantages, it's dumb not to celebrate the achievement, right? The strongest lifters in the world probably usually came from pretty supportive environments and also are probably pretty genetically gifted. But that doesn't mean that you take away all their achievements because of that. Like, wow, that dude deadlifted like 1,300 pounds. Who cares? He's got good genes. What? That doesn't make any sense. You still celebrate the achievement, even if the person did have a lot of advantages on the way to get there.
Interesting. Oh yeah. We're in chat. Fucking. What's up?
What's chat saying?
No. I mean, it's a good guide, because then I can have like certain points to work from. Uh-huh. Work my way like up from or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I actually there's a word something Olympics, right? And I said that the other day because I got mad on stream or whatever. I was like, it was like at the fucking, I had it at Worst Olympics, right? And it's like, oh yeah, maybe you were born in this background, right? But I had it fucking worse, whatever. I feel like work your way down that rabbit hole is so
Olympics
fucking,
or whatever,
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's like a, like you're working your way down for no reason. Like there's no prize for having it harder. There's always somebody that's gonna have it harder than you, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just a dumb fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Do you feel like some takes were overall like just like maybe I'm wrong about this, but I genuinely feel like some of the takes that he had were actually pretty bad. Not only for optics, but just overall bad things about like just women in general. And you say, yeah, but it's his worldviews. Yeah, but how do you feel about that? Do you match him up to your worldviews?
Well, yeah. Again, me and him have fundamentally different ways of viewing like people and value and the world and everything. So I'm going to disagree with a lot of his views. But the important thing is just going to be if his are internally consistent, then you're going to have to offer something different if you want to be persuasive against his audience, right?
Interesting.
Do you know what sweeping edge replaces on a diamond sword?
What's that?
What is sweeping edge on a diamond sword? Does that replace flame aspect or what?
That's complete dog shit. Just don't even bother about that garbage.
All right, don't even care.
Keep asking the same thing. Nah, I'm not asking the same thing. Nah, I feel like in a lot of ways, like I said, we went over what I said and whatnot, and in other ways, it was just like asking your perspective about it. You know, not just you. You know, your take about my take or his take or the overall thing. Is separate from what your take is about or what your view about something is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Greg?
What about Greek? Greek seems to me like he would be like patient zero of like what Andrew Tate is preaching. Like I would expect. So for all you can say about Tate, I don't know him personally. Whatever, maybe his view is fine or whatever in terms of how he lives his life and everything. But Greek seems like the kind of fan that he would have, which is somebody that comes off as being really unconfident, is hardcore pushing that view of his world onto everybody else, and is totally incapable of letting other people live how they want to live. Because Greek is like obsessed with telling everybody else about how wrong they are and everything. Which, by the way, Tate might be the same. I just haven't seen it because I don't follow his shit. But yeah.
I mean, why would he leave himself so vulnerable like that?
Wait, say that again.
Why would Tate leave himself vulnerable if he had some these narratives?
Well, because doesn't Tate sell like self-help shit? Like he might literally preach this stuff. He just didn't do it on that podcast, so I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no,
having specific examples, if you ever do debate him again, would be really helpful. Just like open up a notepad and like record a few statements.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, like I said, if he were to press his views on mine, right? I mean, I don't think he'd win the same way that I can't win against him either. Like this, like I said, these are like, how do you win a worldview battle? It's not. I don't think you win that.
Well, so the way that you win a worldview battle is okay, this gets kind of complicated, but if I say post hoc, does that mean anything to you?
Well, the what?
Post hoc means like after the fact, kind of, right? So like, let's say somebody breaks into my house and they steal $15, and I'm like, I think that if people steal at least $15, they should get the death penalty. You'd say like, okay, well, hold on. It feels like you kind of post hoc came up with that moral rule because you're only saying it because somebody stole $15 from you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So the way that you typically, I think that most worldviews or moral systems are constructed post hoc, meaning people look at the things that they want in life and then they construct a worldview around those things that they want. I think that's how all moral systems and all like grand overarching narratives of the world go.
I mean, it's also kind of logical. I mean,
yeah,
it's
sure.
what you expect to happen naturally.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But that means
of
that
course
if you want to fight against somebody doing that, right? So if we understand people have the worldviews and narratives they have because they think that's helping them to get the things that we want, what you have to show them is that that worldview is not going to give you what you want, and ideally my worldview will. It'll give you something closer to it. That's always the goal.
If the entire life's experience is that it did, I mean, you're never going to have enough examples or enough data.
No, yeah, you're fucked. Like, you're never going to, but the goal isn't to convince Andrew Tate out of his worldview. It's to convince his fans or the people listening out of that worldview. Tate, you're never going to be able to convince otherwise, because it seems like he's doing pretty well. And why the fuck would he listen to anything that anybody else has to say about his worldview? It seems like it's serving him like incredibly well.
Yeah, it's like if I gamble like 1,000 hands at back to back, right?
Yeah, get it twisted. Gambling is good.
Yeah, and I had won like 909 out of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you came in here and said, well, gambling doesn't actually make you money. And I'm like, well, I mean, here's hand number one. And I have, look at all the data that I have to go on.
Mm-hmm.
To like, I mean, in of course not in the real world, but in this hypothetical, I mean, you will never be able to disprove me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless data from other people would have, I mean, still though, a lot of Tate's data came from anecdotal as well,
which is fine. Keep in mind, when you talk about like anecdotal versus studies, this is like it's like an epistemic question. This is a question about truth and knowledge. Nobody gives a fuck in the real world about like studies and data. That's always going to be the case. If somebody gets cheated on by 2 Latina girls, they're never going to date a Mexican again. They're going to be like, fuck that. Like, Latina girls are bad news. They might only take one, and they'll be like, fuck it. Like, that's just how people work. If somebody, Tate even said this correctly, whether he knows it or not, if he gets into a car with 3 women and all 3 of them drive badly, he's not going to get in a car with any woman anymore. If somebody gets mugged by 1 black person, they might be scared around every black person they see in the dark in public ever again, right? That's just how people form like worldviews. That's like, people are very heuristic oriented when it comes to that. They're not really like data driven. And that's why he can always make appeals to those like, we're wearing masks even though people aren't dying from the coronavirus. Okay, well, what about this study, this study? He doesn't care. I don't care about internet studies. Like, he's very forward about his epistemic foundation. He'll say that. I don't care about studies or fucking data. What I care about is what I see in the real world. And to a lot of people, that worldview is attractive because that's way more of like the common man than, you know, that. And remember, when we go back to, remember earlier I said there's like 3 levels of debate. You've got the autistic fact debate, you've got the weird conspiracy theory guy debate, and then you've got like the overarching grand narrative debate. That overarching grand narrative guy doesn't give a fuck about your autistic facts, and your autistic fact debates are only ever going to work around people that are like debating autistic facts. But for people like Tate, he's beyond fact. He doesn't care. He's literally post fact. You could literally give him data that the coronavirus kills like 25% of people that are bald. If he doesn't know a bald person that's died from the coronavirus, he's not going to give a fuck about it. He'll say, I don't care. I don't believe that shit.
Yeah.
Even if it was true.
Yeah. So it's why I think looking back, I just feel like even with like crazy like lined up what the fuck, it doesn't matter, facts or views or philosophies. I mean, somebody says I feel this way, and even sometimes I know it's bad almost, right? Or that the people think it's bad or whatever, and it says I still think that, fuck you guys, right? I mean, that's like a checkmate.
Yeah, because they have a separate epistemology, meaning like study of like truth or knowledge, right? They have a separate epistemic view of the world. The way that they determine if things are true or false is totally different. That's like arguing with a religious person about like why a particular event happened. Well, I think that the universe started with the Big Bang, but I think the universe started 6,000 years ago. What? Why the fuck do you think that? Because the Bible said so. Oh, well, fuck me. This debate is over. You have a totally different foundation of how you arrive at like fact or truth. Like, I can't argue with that. Like, we're done, right? Yeah. The way that you would argue with that 6,000-year-old young Earth creationist, though, is the same way you'd argue with Andrew Tate. What you would have to say is, well, hold on, I can show you how your worldview produces outcomes that you don't like compared to my worldview. You know, God also said this about slavery, or, you know, there's no mention of like medicine in the Old Testament, and we have that. Don't you like that? So maybe your worldview sucks. You wouldn't say it like that, but you'd be more compassionate.
Yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Is YouTube chat really full of conservatives? Nah, dude, like I said, dude, I'm telling you, ever since I got on here, I'm reading some of this shit. It's absolute. It's a complete shit show in there. It's a bunch of guys that have basic Google accounts linked to their YouTube accounts, right? With short names, just saying absolute degenerational brain rot ideologies. I'm not kidding. It's actual brain rot.
That's my new conservative YouTube chat. Listen, that's what happened. They banned me from Twitch. Okay, I've got to build new fans from other places. We're going to the conservative, the conservative manufacturing plants.
Now you're part of the Matrix. Got to be really careful about that.
Yeah. How did you set the debate with Tate up? Did Adin just like drag you in and ask you, or did you like set this up?
Bro, I woke up at fucking 9 p.m. I was about to do one of the worst streams of my life because I was so fucking tired and I had a headache on. And then I'm like 8 minutes into my fucking stream, and I'm just scratching my balls and fucking it's fucking Adin WND starts spamming my chat full of W's, and they say Adin call on Discord. I join in, and then we talk about some random shit. And whatnot, where these guys are like, these are really fucking cooked up. But they're kind of funny, it's just whatever. It's not like, I don't like them. And then, that's it. We're all into these, and he's like, we'll get Andrew Tate on or whatever the fuck. And then he comes on, and that's about it.
Gotcha. Nice. Do you know Abba from Abba and Preach?
I feel like I hear these.
Wait, hold on. Don't you have to know these guys? Two black dudes from Quebec. Don't you guys like all know each other from up there or whatever? I thought he lived in Montreal for a while.
No.
What the fuck? Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I don't like I said today and the other day, like if it's just overall like in the past couple like days or weeks, I've seen a lot of his shit being paraphrased and being regurgitated in ways that are kind of like very repulsive or kind of weird in my chat.
What things?
And just the stuff they talk about women or whatever, right? And people kind of like paraphrasing like in a weird way that they don't get it entirely, but they get like the bad part of it right? And then I was like, wow, you guys don't actually think this way, right? So then I was like, I mean, if I actually talk to him, even if it's overall like an L, if it was an LD, this is L, whatever. I think it's okay voicing. If in my perspective, that the shit he says about people is wrong, right? And people shouldn't say or conduct themselves that way, right? Because the message is sometimes unclear and not like it's a little bit flawed, and people will take the bad part of it and will like act on that. And you can just see that like in the chat overall and in people's demeanor, just the way that people communicate or talk when it's about women.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And I'm just like, wow, this is kind of cooked. And I think voicing my views and my opinions like that, at least in a not formal thing like that, it's kind of good for me, to be honest. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a separate argument over like responsibility to audiences or whatever, but I mean, like, yeah, I would largely agree with you. The rhetoric is pretty toxic. There's a quote by Chappelle. I think it's a woman's test is material, and a man's test is a woman. Like women look to men for like material sources or resources or whatever, so like income and everything. But for men, even the men that pretend they hate women, probably the ones that hate women the most in your chat, like men ultimately seek validation from women. That's like a really huge part of like the man experience, is feeling like you're getting the appropriate validation from women. That's why when you're debating with Andrew Tate, he has like 2 women in the background, right? It's important to like show, like even for men that might preach like red pill stuff, or even like the most like, I'm not saying he hates women or anything like that, but for men in chat or whatever that say they hate women, usually that's stemming from the fact that they're not getting enough validation from them, right? So a lot of these kind of like red pill men are in this weird world where they simultaneously hate women, but they also like need them to validate them more than anybody else in the world, because it is the most important thing to a lot of these guys, is the validation that they could be getting from women. Yeah. And if you're a lonely guy, then yeah, there's like another saying. It's like a slut is a woman that sleeps with everybody, and a bitch is a woman that sleeps with everybody except for me, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish I had made just a better point. Maybe not in there, but to my audience, that I think that like, I don't know, man, like some of this shit, like like not letting you go do this or do that, or like
that for most people this is going to come out in a really toxic way. It's not good, and it's going to drive more women away from them than towards them.
Yeah. I mean, exactly, right. And also especially for the cheating part, especially when bunch of like insecure behaviors are being displayed or whatever, and it's like, wow, man, you're such a, I mean, there's a very good chance you don't have like 8 women after you, right? There's a good chance that most of the people in the chat or in those debates in those chat rooms, right, when they finally got a date and it was done, they immediately texted, and you know they couldn't sleep when they didn't get a message back after 4 messages or whatever, right? And it probably fuck, I don't want to go too hard on that tangent.
Most guys couldn't. It's funny because people will criticize you for saying like you can only get away with this because you're a streamer, but the reality is that Tate can only get away with a lot of what he says because of his like money and status, right? He might say that like, well, in the past, you know, I didn't have money or whatever, which sure, that might have been the case, but he's definitely got a certain personality type to be able to get away from it, and most men, the vast majority of men, wouldn't be able to. So his advice, you know, saying like you need to treat women like I do to get women, is about as valuable as a streamer saying, you know, just link them your Twitch account to get a woman as well. They're both equally valid, meaning they're not valid at all, right? It's not going to work for the average guy. The average guy is not making 6 figures, isn't worth millions of dollars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they can't really apply Tate stuff any much as well as they could have done streamer stuff. If a streamer's saying stupid shit like, you know, just pretend you're famous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not like seeking validation or whatever. I'm kind of at a stand, and I'm kind of happy with this actually. I think this is pretty good.
You have the exact time
unless you think you can tell me something that bad or wrong, or one of my views is flawed, maybe you can help me steer me in the right direction in some way.
The exact time and place.
I mean, like the only thing I would ever say is if you want to get into like the hyper crazy like debating world, because when you're arguing against somebody like Tate, it's you're signing up for like really big fights. Like these are going to be really difficult conversations. As kind of autistic as it seems, like taking a moment to step back and like actually like opening a notepad and just like writing out why you think the things you do, and then giving yourself some basic challenging questions, exploring those things on your own can be really instructive for when you have those conversations with other people. Like, right, like if I were to ask you a question, like, so like here's a question, like men and women are obviously biologically different in some regards, so why do you expect them to act the same? Why should they have similar expectations in a relationship? Should they? Those are things where like you can write a question down like that, and you can write for a long time trying to answer that question. Or maybe you don't have an answer to that question. Maybe you need to go back even more fundamental. Are men and women the same? Are they different in ways that matter? Should they have different expectations? Do they have different, right? Just like writing down a lot of this and writing through it and studying, as stupid as it sounds, will like be incredibly helpful when you have those conversations in the future. Because then when people are hitting you up with questions, most of the time, you know, I always joke that when I do debates, I usually know both sides of the debate better than the person I'm arguing against. That's not just because because I've done a lot of debating. It's also because I've thought about the debate a lot too. So if I think that like, oh, like I think abortion should be okay because like fetuses aren't people. Well, like the first thing I'm going to ask myself is like, well, what about like a 9-month-old fetus? If that fetus is one day, is that a person? Okay, well, yeah, they probably are. So let's like work more, right? I'll ask myself questions and go back and forth. I got to have like my own debate about it because I would at least be able to answer like the level 1 objections. Like what would a 4th grader say in response to my argument? So it can be good to like literally, you know, flush it out on your own sometime, or with a friend, or with a girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because I was in that. If I feel like in a call like this, since it was just only brought in like as a whatever, like it would no preface or whatever, just kind of just straight into it. From my perspective, I was like the attacker.
Yeah,
right?
and you were attacking somebody who does this shit like for a living.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh my god. I mean, okay, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, I lost because this guy's a better computer. You know, I'm not. That's not the point of what I'm saying. What I mean by that is, if let's say I feel like, how would I even come? Okay, let me rephrase this. Let's say I write down my thoughts on how I think that way. Okay, I don't think that you should give orders to women and make them obey you as a concept. I don't agree with that because I think women are equal, and in a relationship where there are some power imbalances, of it should be somewhat equal to the point where you should never cross that barrier that women should obey you. And using that term is pretty bad, and displaying it to others that that's bad. How do you feel about that? Right? That, I mean, then he just says his take, says I don't give a fuck about your take, and then that, I mean, that's it. Right?
Well, I mean, getting your argument out, that's just stage 1, right? Like the next step is going to be, well, why is my take better than your take, right?
You think you would have went for it? You would have actually went for that and argued that?
Well, yeah, because that's what you have to do, right? Yeah.
That's kind of tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but you need like a wholly consistent worldview built out, right? But like maybe, so like from my point of view, you know, he might say like, well, you know, I prefer women this way. I like to give orders, blah, 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 right? Like you might want to build out and say like, okay, well, I view relationships as partnerships. I want to be able to accomplish or do cool things with my partner in the future. I'm kind of a business person. I do streaming. Maybe there are projects I want to work on in the future. In that case, I don't want to feel like I'm carrying baggage with me because she looks good or, you know, has enough plastic surgery. I want to feel like I'm with somebody who is like capable, who is intelligent, who can build something with me. So in that case, if I'm looking for a woman that can provide me the type of value I'm looking in a partner to either build a life or business together with, I'm probably looking for somebody that's not going to be the type of person to take orders from me or obey me. I'm going to be looking for somebody that's more on equal footing with me than anything else. So like in building out that argument, now I've given justification for why I prefer the type of women that I do, and simultaneously I've rejected his worldview because the type of women that his worldview would get me would never be the type of woman that would benefit me in terms of like building the life that I want to build, right? So that would be like one way to counter it, but you have to, these are things you have to think about and like build out like hardcore. Yeah, there's a lot to do that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I feel like, fuck, man. I don't feel like I'm going nowhere with the discussion, and I don't want to waste your time. I just feel like I see myself there again, right? And I just feel like all I would get with a good narrative of my own views or whatever is like a puff of cigar smoke or some shit. That's kind of
yeah, but that's always the thing. If he's not going to make a prescription, meaning he's not going to tell anybody what to do, then in that case, he's really not in the wrong, which I said that was like the overarching problem in your debate. He wasn't telling people what to do, so that made you look like the aggressor. So if you wanted to challenge him in that way with your alternative worldview, you would have to go and pull out quotes like, well, you tell men to do this or that, right? You've told men that they need to do this, this, and this to be high value men. Well, I submit to you, men are going to be more likely to be successful following my advice because it's way easier for a guy to get closer to me in status than closer to you in status. All I'm telling guys is treat women with respect, don't be too clingy, make yourself an asset in some way. You're telling guys that like they can be like Andrew Tate, the world professional fucking kickboxer before you were however old, who's got a net worth in the, you know, $30 million figure range at 35. You're giving these men like this false confidence, but they can never live it.
Right? He's got women that.
I looked it up and I saw 30 million. I've heard other people say over 100 million, but I've heard people fight back and forth. But whatever, regardless of what it is, right? Like the chances are you can give advice that...
People told me he had hundreds. Wait, only 30 mil? I don't get it.
Well, people are going to exaggerate their wealth always, right? He's exaggerating all the time, of course, you know?
Interesting, okay.
But I mean, don't take my word. I don't know 100% what his official thing is. I just Googled it. I saw anything from 30 million to 165 million. I don't know what's true about that or not. I have no idea. But I would imagine he probably exaggerates. But I'm just saying, like, you can probably give advice that are going to be more likely for the average guy to be able to follow and be happy than somebody like fucking Andrew Tate, who's like, how old was this guy when he became a professional kickboxer? Like, this guy's lived experience, you know, might actually be further removed than like a streamer's lived experience, you know? Like, he wants to talk about like how women are and who this and that and blah, blah, blah. Like, what normal women do you even intersect with as like a world famous fucking kickboxer? Like, how many normal women have you even met? Have you even been on Tinder before ever in your entire life? Like, have you ever tried to date a woman not being Andrew Tate? Like, you might be more far removed from a normal human's experience than even like a famous streamer is, you know? Maybe, but
I mean, even for me, that's hard because I don't go out of the house and I haven't like lived that much, you know. So it's like I try to like remember as accurate as I can, like what it was before, and try to figure out like if I was gonna figure out like red flags and you know like not red flags about people. And I mean, I try my best. I think I did a pretty decent job, but I don't know. Yep, I don't you know. I have no idea. I mean, I think I get a decent amount of experiences. I think before I went into streaming and degeneracy, like I had a good amount of fucking jobs and shit like that, you know, like in relationships or whatever. So I feel like I'm decently framed, right?
yeah, maybe you said, I don't know. You know your experience.
But there again, I mean, yeah, like I said, like there again, I mean, compared to everybody that live in the real world every day, all the time, so why even bother compare?
Yeah, well,
I mean, what about you?
What is my lived experience like, or what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about your own personal experience before streaming and whatnot, and fucking. Is your view of everything kind of flawed because you've been too long with this dog shit or not?
I mean, I think you can definitely spend too much time in the streaming world. Thankfully, I had a lot of life before I got into streaming, so I think I'm like fairly well grounded. But there are going to be some things that I'm probably somewhat out of touch on now versus like I was in the past. And then also my experience growing up was also in Nebraska, so that's going to be like a lot different than other people's lived experience. But I mean, it's just it's gonna depend. But I mean, like I already had a kid on the way before I even knew like what the fuck streaming was, so it's not like I got into Reddit at high school.
Yeah, how does that even happen anyway?
Well, when a man and a woman put their things inside.
I mean, did you want that or not?
No, absolutely. That was an oops baby if I've ever had one in my life, of course. But that's a long story. I was pro-life, so abortion didn't seem right and all that. But what are you gonna do? It's all good. Nathan's coming over next week. Should be fun.
Wait. Nah, I think about it. I feel like some core beliefs that are pretty like black and white like that. Are kind of like hard to change. It doesn't matter what side it's on. I'm not gonna fucking. How many of your core beliefs that are kind of hardcore do you think actually changed?
Depends on how core you want to go. Like I would say like the last time I had like a major ultra core belief change was in high school, like 16, 17 when I became an atheist. That was probably the last huge, like big core belief change. And then ever since then, I think my core beliefs have been pretty similar, but like how you get to those beliefs changes a little bit as you get older and get more experience. So like, for instance, like I might've said way back then, like, I think everybody deserves to be treated fairly or treated equally. But then like, as I get older, I realized that like, well, equal treatment isn't always fair treatment. Right? So like I noticed huge changes between like going from having no money and being broke as fuck to having a fuck ton of money and not caring about anything, right? So I'll notice that like things like, you know, breaking a wheel, God forbid, or even getting a flat tire or a speeding ticket are like financially ruinous for poor people. But for like wealthy people, like I don't even give a fuck. Like these are like fun tickets. If I get them, it's who cares.
Wait. What did you say?
What?
Wait, can we repeat that? This is the last part?
Sorry, like if you get like a speeding ticket or if you like break a wheel, like any of these like normal like day-to-day financial things that come up, like as a rich person, they don't matter. Who cares? It doesn't matter at all. But as a poor person, they can be like life destroying or they'll like set you back for like months or just
yeah. Yeah. I think I'm pretty attuned.
Yeah. So I was using that example as like a long time ago, I might say something like, oh, well, the fine should be the same for everybody because that's the most fair thing. And now that I'm older, I'd be like, well, hold on. Fines should be scaled with income. They're way different from poor person to rich person. So somebody might look at that and go like, oh, Steven, your core beliefs have changed. It's like, well, not really. My core belief is still the same. I've just like learned more stuff. So now the way that I express that belief is a little bit different, you know?
Interesting. Yeah. So like maybe let's say like scaling up the penalties by ratio according to your like let's say last reported fucking tax bracket.
Yeah,
or some
tax
shit.
bracket or some shit like that. Yeah, might be a change maybe. I don't know if I'd super like support a policy like this, but I'm just saying like that would be like a change of thought I have that is like it doesn't mean my core belief has changed. I've just like gotten more information as I've gotten older. So now, yeah, I feel about it. I feel different about it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm more like politically. I feel like you have like an odd background.
Yeah, a little bit. But the more background you have, like the more experience you have, the better, because then it helps you understand.
True.
different
Yeah.
types of
Yeah. I
people.
mean, yeah. If you can see both sides, I mean, that's plus, right?
Yeah.
I'm playing League. I'm popping the fuck off. I'm crazy at this game.
What league are you in, bud?
I don't play that much. I think I'm just playing right now.
Cringe. Yikes.
Bro, better play the game. If I have time for one game, I get lucky. Usually I start jerking off like in the middle of the game so that I can actually kind of have like a good one when I'm out, and then I go to bed.
What in the middle of the game? Why?
I mean, because the game will get boring or whatever the fuck, and I kind of want to get like warmed up a little bit.
So you just start jerking so that by the time the game finishes, you can really be into it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. What role do you play again?
Top.
Okay, makes sense. These are all my top laners. This is why you guys just stay up there the whole time. You're literally just jerking off. Okay.
Yeah, there used to be a time where I could do it in the loading screen. But these days I kind of care more about it. Like, I mean, I want to have a good time at least, you know.
Sure. You gotta make it last longer than that. I got you.
Well, sometimes, motherfucker. Dude, come on, man! Don't be weird about it. You ever been in like you ever fucking you boot up like Game of League, and then like you're just trying to chill alone, and then you know you see like I don't know Battle Bunny Riven loading screen, and you're like, well, I mean, I guess that's it, and then you just fuck it, boom.
I haven't had that experience, but I don't look at the skins that much. Maybe I should start paying more attention.
Oh yeah, I get these like easy triggers, like oh damn, fuck it. Like I see like a Tate out, and I'm like, oh man, dude, I mean, fuck it, dude. This is it, you know.
Gotcha. Do you ever like finish while you're in the game? Do you just go full send and you do your thing and then you tab
No, I
back
don't
in?
think so. No.
Oh, okay, that'd be weird.
Back in days, sometimes I would listen. I'm not kidding. I was in Masters, and I could make the rational conclusion in my head that it was okay for me to be late in lane by like 20-30 seconds if I didn't have enough time to finish in the loading screen on my way to the lane, and I'd be late in lane doing that, and I was like, fuck it, it is what it is.
Gotcha. Nice job.
Sometimes, I mean, we don't have all fucking day, you know. You gotta manage time properly.
Okay, sounds efficient. You don't want to take away time from your 17-hour-a-day streams or whatever.
Yeah.
Why haven't you gotten Hassan to debate Andrew Tate yet? Is that going to be set up?
I mean, how are they gonna go like?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't think Hassan goes hard like that, and like I don't think he. I think it'd be more of the belief that having him on his platform is too much.
Maybe. Okay, well, hold on. I'm literally farming you for clips. Don't say anything too stupid because you're gonna get fucking.
No, why not?
You're gonna get LSF blown up. Why'd you do the tier list? Why'd you do that? What were you thinking?
I mean, I really didn't beat the first time. It seemed like it was a problem.
Yeah, true. Have you had like a big like these? If this question is like mega autistic, 'cause I haven't been following shit. Do you live in Canada right now?
Yeah.
What made you start talking about like the LSF crew? Seems like a couple people started to kind of like air grievances about how they're like clicky. I think you and Michaela started talking. Did I miss something? Did something?
Wait,
happen,
I haven't talked to Michaela ever.
No, you. I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying she did at the same time that you did.
Oh, she's right. I mean, I don't know. I'm not. I mean,
like,
there's like a bunch of stuff I don't agree with, and a bunch of stuff that you know. I mean,
there wasn't like some big event that set it off or whatever. That's all I'm saying.
Not an event, just some stuff that I know, but it's just yeah, I don't be too drama Andy. I just think that a lot of people have it on their chest that they're like tired of it. Even the ones that are like very, very close to the core group, like even the part of the core group, that they're like they're not having a good time, and they feel some ways because of some certain things. And I was like, fuck it. I just can't feel like saying it because I hate people. I hate viewers like. I just feel like lashing out just one time because of seeing everybody like being all on one side and thinking stuff. Yeah, I should say, oh, I don't want viewers to think this, so I'm gonna say that. I don't want to be like that, but it kind of ended up being like that a little bit. Does that make sense or not?
Yeah, like you kind of wanted to like express a little bit of annoyance, but people ended up taking it like really, really, really far, kind of. Yeah. I mean, you know, some of it's justified, but I should never do that because like if you're gonna leak some shit, just go all the way through with it, right? Like just leak the whole fucking drama, like just like leak everything and go bonkers with it, right? I didn't want to fucking burn that bridge that hard, but I was just tired of seeing people everywhere just thinking a certain way about that everybody's like nice and chill and like.
Yeah. I just wanted to fucking say something. Yeah, it's not rational. Okay, I'm not rational being. Okay, it's just how it's gonna be. Okay, like fuck it. So yeah, it wasn't like nice, but I don't talk to Nikila. But I know that a bunch of other people feel certain ways, and they voice that either in my DMs or on their streams, and it's. I was like, oh, I mean, I'm not crazy. So I thought it was crazy. I thought, hey, man, am I like this like absolutely out of touch like? That I thought Austin was not that good and it was just kind of a problem. Like was I crazy? And I mean I'm not say who, but I got like a handful of games people that live there and like fuck man, I'm gonna be out at one point or this or soon or some shit, right?
Yeah, but the way that it works is everybody kind of has to be on the same page because if you start talking shit, you're gonna get like.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to lose opportunities, so they not only are they not going to leak, they're going to go against your leaks that are true to not lose their shit. It's like, you know what, dude, I'm not going to make decisions for other people. I'm not going to fucking act for them, and you know, like I'm just going to lash out because I'm a baby and fucking move on my life.
One of the hugely awesome things that I've noticed about YouTube is because YouTube is like such a huge platform compared to Twitch. Is there are so many different communities on YouTube, and I really like that. Like I can talk to different people from different communities who feel like totally different about like other communities. Whereas on Twitch, it feels like there are like depending on where you're at. Like for LSF, there's really like one community, and I noticed this. Obviously, you know, I've got like random drama stuff. People like if I'm like on Hassan's like shit list, or if like Cutie doesn't like me with her connection to Ludwig, I'm fucked. It's like, oh shit, like I can't go to any big event.
Yeah, that's how it is for all of them.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's really stressful for that LSF crowd because there are a couple of like kingmakers where you have to be in with like 5 or 6 of these like really huge figures, and if you're not, you're fucked. And it only takes like one of them to not like you, and then you're just all over it. Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like really lucky. I mean, I'm kind of aware about it. I'm kind of really lucky where I didn't really needed anybody to do anything. Like I didn't. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I love making content with other people. I like making collabs and dumb shit with other people and do whatever, right? But I've never needed anybody to do shit.
Yeah.
To survive or whatever. And I've always like kind of thrived in that way, so that I don't have to play my cards. I can play any card that I want. I know that's not the case for everybody, right? So I kind of have to gauge that a little bit. Right?
Yeah, I understand 1,000,000%. I would say the same excuse, like, because I always talk about, like, I don't need sponsors. I'll say what the fuck I want. If people don't like it, I don't care, blah, 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 blah. But I recognize that, like, I'm large enough to be able to say that. If I was like a 50 viewer streamer, I don't know if I would say the same shit. Like, that G2A sponsor or whatever, that I can talk about how evil it is for whatever, or like this group or this team or this group of friends, like, I can big ball it as like a streamer that has like, you know, several thousand viewers. But if I was like a 100 viewer Andy, I don't know, maybe it'd be harder. And yeah, the Austin crew, I'm sure is probably kind of similar, right? Where like for some of the big streamers, you look at them and it's like, why are you such a loser? But like for some of the smaller guys, like they kind of have to play the game, you know?
Yeah, which is fun. So I try not to, you know, like fucking like ruin the party or whatever. But I just didn't enjoy Austin. I was just over that place. I was just very over it. The environment, just the everything. I just didn't feel at home. That's all. It just and especially with all the other problems that I don't want to talk about. It's a disaster.
Do you like get out? Do you have like a bunch of real life friends in Canada or?
My best friends who go out sometimes. I go biking every day.
Gotcha.
That's about my social contact of the week, if
The
anything,
real
to be
world.
honest.
Do you have like a timeline for streaming, or do you still like enjoy it a lot? Like, you just want to do it for as long as you can? Or?
I don't have a timeline. I don't like having a timeline. I feel like if you set up like in these like things like streaming that are so like not versatile, but like it can go in crazy ways. I feel like having really, unless it's like kind of big lines that are kind of blurry, having set goals, whatever, it's so bad. Like, not set goals, but just like super hard plans. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you don't want to
You're
be
just
like, I'm
setting
gonna be
yourself
out
up
of here in like
disappointment.
1 year, and you have no idea what the fuck like 1 year from now it's gonna be like. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because like something will happen, like a game will come out, like some meta will appear, like some guy will, like some change will happen to the systems, like something is gonna happen, and you never know what that's gonna be. So I feel like making plans, like very precise plans, and calculating outcomes, like you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed like crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't like having a beginning and an end, especially not an end in view, because I was always since I played pro and fucking Overwatch or whatever, like I know what it is to be driven by passion, and knowing that like the day that I think about like retiring, like hey, I should have retired before that. Does that make sense? Like once the thought comes to mind about retiring, I mean that's when you retire, kind of thing.
Sure. Well, like you've kind of
'cause
already missed the point or whatever, right?
Yeah, because at that point you're not.
Nobody
You're not-
like on their way to the top is thinking like they're gonna retire soon, right? Because you're.
Yeah, exactly. You're only seeing upwards.
Yeah.
So that's like very important. And yeah, I have everything that I need. So that if I had to quit tomorrow and I want to do other shit and have my life be more fulfilling somewhere else, then I'd do that somewhere else. It wouldn't. It'd be a blink for me. I don't know.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I think that's very important. Like, it gives me a lot of like security, whatever. It gives me a lot of freedoms, whatever. And it makes me privileged, whatever. And being aware of that is like an important part of just fucking living, I guess.
Are you did you watch any of the TwitchCon Netherlands thing or whatever, or Amsterdam?
No, was that good?
Oh, I don't know. They had a bunch of like people and dragon shit on it. I was just curious if you had an opinion. It seemed pretty exciting.
No.
Do you feel like you have a good relationship with Twitch? Like, do they contact you? Do you have like people you know there, or?
Hey, I mean, I have my own like personal contract type of shit. Like, I have my 1-to-1, and yeah, I mean, they've been pretty good. I mean, I think they've been like yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, Twitch is Twitch. I mean, I'm not gonna be a fucking leaky Andy.
No, yeah, no. I'm just curious
because
because I know that like some people, like Asmongold, was complaining that he felt like they didn't even really know him there. He didn't have great connections anymore. Or like towards the end of my time there, like I didn't really know many people or talk to many people anymore. So.
It's a lot of groups, right? Like, yeah, like it's not only like one team. Oh, we are Twitch. We work here. Like it's. Like you have a conversation with moderation, and it's gonna go a certain way, and you're gonna have a conversation with fucking head of product, and it's gonna be a certain way, and then you have a conversation with fucking your account manager, or the fucking head of whatever the fuck. It's all gonna be like completely different vibes, whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm in certain settings with certain people, whatever. I mean, I think I've been given like not a break, but it hasn't been as bad with like moderation overall. But before, for me, moderation was like very tough. Yeah, like getting banned for like really shitty stuff that are very, very whatever. That was like, oh, what the fuck is that? I mean, how else would you feel? Like, you feel just so, like, I don't like playing victim, but it's not even playing victim. It's just like, feeling like, oh, you're gonna get a big ass slap for this, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, why, right? And not really getting to that like answer of why it's like that, and then fucking having like reconsidering like a bunch of shit. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah, I would say at least towards my last days at Twitch, maybe it's changed or maybe it's not, but like it definitely feels like it's really frustrating how bureaucratic the system feels. Did you ever watch the movie Ford v Ferrari?
Yeah, I watch it.
Oh, do you remember when Matt Damon is in the room and the guy's asking him like, why shouldn't I fire you? And he's like, well, before you got that red folder, it passed through 4 sets of hands and probably 17 people on the floor below or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That feeling of like, for at least, I'm sure you probably have more pull, but like for my project manager, I'd have like an idea for something like, oh, okay, if you have an idea, like, go ahead and write me up a proposal. I'll go ahead and forward that to the head of partnerships. He'll forward that over to the product team and they'll check it off with legal, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, this is like fucking so irritating.
Yeah, I mean, before my ideas were kind of whatever, but that's kind of a whatever thing. It's not that helpful. But overall, like, if I have an idea, I can get it through. Like, I guess they value somewhat my creative freedom, which is good. Because I think I have these ideas here and there. They're not all good because I have a lot of misses.
Sure.
But
I mean, I hope they listen to you to some extent. You still have the most viewer hours of any like individual on the site, right?
Yeah, but getting view hours is like a joke. It's like I could do that forever.
Well, I don't think I don't think anybody could do that forever. It's because it's a function of concurrent viewership as well, right? Like a 5,000 viewer person could never beat you in viewer hours, even if they stream 24/7 constantly, right?
Yeah, I mean, it compounds so fast though. Like, I just like doing long streams and just being exhausted at the end of the stream. Like, I'm done with my day or whatever, right? So it's like that shit just stacks really hard. I could be doing a lot of good, cool projects. I mean, some of them end up doing better trade-offs in the future. Like, I don't know if you've ever done that with just better trade-offs. Like, maybe a bit less free time or less time doing this, and less on time, like on air to do a project or do multiple projects.
Yeah, Devin talked a lot about this, which was actually really good advice. So, like, if you stream for like 11 hours a day, if you just stream for 10 hours a day, that's not going to affect your streaming much. But spending 1 hour a day on some other project might be like huge, right? Yeah, because you're
just disciplined about it, and you don't use that hour to fucking do whatever.
Jerk off and play League. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. But I mean, I had a long day, so.
Yeah, it's all good. You're fine.
Also, I'm farming viewers off of YouTube because some of your boys are gonna come and Twitch them on,
Yeah, just not while I'm streaming.
Just kidding, man.
Jesus, ruthless business, man.
Oh yeah, I've been also doing fucking music. I think it's fucking sick.
Oh yeah, that's cool. If you ever have music theory questions, feel free to shoot a question my way.
Bro, I feel like with your fucking musical do you have a degree or some shit or what?
I'm a music school dropout, but I've got more theory and composition knowledge than most though.
Dude, I feel like this is a complete bias and know nothing statement. I feel like going into music and actually studying this shit, you probably have like way more knowledge that you can use, and you probably know so much absolute garbage. I feel like that is like very precise information that's kind of hard to use type of stuff compared to other fields.
Well, I mean, I would argue that's actually that's actually true of every single field. Like even hardcore STEM fields, like you can be like, you take a ton of math, a ton of science, to be like certain types of engineers. But once those guys go and work on their jobs, like they're using like 5% of what they learned in college, right? Like the most important thing is going to be on the job training, whatever software they use. And then that's going to be it. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, I remember in my year 3 of like physics, I like that. That's never happening, right? That's going to be true of every job.
Yeah.
So that is true. When it comes to music, there's like, this is probably true of all art academically. There's always 2 ways to approach art. One is that you learn all of the like classical historical aspects of that particular art, and then you don't learn anything modern at all, and therefore like all of your knowledge is really useless unless you're trying to perform for other musicians or you want to be like a fucking yeah. Or you can learn stuff that's like applicable to the real world, which is kind of what I focused on. So if you're ever, I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of theory knowledge that I know that is very esoteric, or like I could analyze the fuck out of like a piece by Mozart that wouldn't help me at all modern day. But there's a lot of stuff that if you carry it over to like modern stuff, it can like inform like why your music sounds a certain way, or it can help you like make a certain type of sound or whatever too, just depends on what you're looking for.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I mean, the thing is that I wish I had a bunch of questions for you, but I know so little that I don't even know what questions to ask because I don't know what I'm missing. I'm like full Dunning-Kruger but like I think I'm fucking Kanye West on the beat, and I'm fucking toenailed up the wazoo. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the stage I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I'm like super Dunning-Kruger right now.
Like
But-
you think you know a lot, even though you don't
No,
know?
I mean
or-
not really. I mean it's not that bad, right? But at least I feel like I know enough that I want to do. That I want to do so much. It's kind of like it's like almost like a motivator. It's a good thing, you know. It's not a bad thing.
I would say that like the best questions you could ever bring like a quote unquote expert about anything are when you found something that you really like, or you found like 2 or 3 things that you really like but you don't know why, like showing somebody that like, hey, I love the sound of this and that, like why, what's the thing that makes me like this so much? That could be an area where somebody be like, oh, you
Okay,
just,
yeah.
you must like this chord progression, you must like it when the melody does this. So that's one thing. And then second thing is when you're oh fuck, I had a second thing, I don't remember, but that's one thing. If you like something a lot and then you're trying to figure out like why you like it, asking somebody that can be really good.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, there's so many things that I like a lot, but whenever I see it, like this is something that I like about my I want to be like okay, I'm being narcissist, Andy. Fuck it, I'll be a narcissist.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Something that there's some traits about myself that I like a lot is that it's very hard for me to like things. I just love things, right? And there's very few things that I'll like, but a lot of things that I'll love. But whenever I hear something or I see something that I love, like I'll just know it, right? I'm not gonna guess it. If I'm guessing, it's no. It's almost like when you're shopping and you're seeing something you like or you love. If you don't love it, you're not gonna wear it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'm just saying that there are like so before I knew any theory, because I technically I started music late, and then I went to college and I learned composition theory, all that. Like there are certain songs that I really liked before I ever knew anything about music. But it was interesting that after I learned a lot about theory, that I could go back and look at some songs and go, oh cool, like I know why I like this New Jabe song. And I know why I like this David Bowie song, because they actually both have a certain type of thing, and it's cool to just know that. So then if I want to make like a certain type of song or music for like the music stuff I do on stream, I can like employ that sound. I like, I know.
Yeah,
because
you know what you're looking for, kind of
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm getting accustomed to that a little bit, not because of knowledge, or just because of.
Yeah, you'll get it when you practice it. You'll start to learn like what you like, what you don't like. Yeah, for sure.
I like introducing like almost like a real life sounds, but that are well mastered enough that they don't.
All right. Well, it's been fun.
Music, right?
Oh wait, sorry, you're here. Hello.
What's happened?
Oh, your thing cut out for a second.
Oh,
you
okay.
like what? What did you say?
Oh yeah, just I like finding like things that sound like real life sounds, right?
Like samples or?
Yeah, I mean just sound. Yeah, a sample. Yeah, but just sounds. Like even off stream, I was doing it at being at the call, but I was looking for just noises that I think are cool, right? And I could just kind of master them or like filter them a little bit and make them sound cool and fun, and just put them in the beat, not randomly, but in certain places.
Okay.
And yeah, I had this fucking. Well, maybe Chaz as a fucking clip. I got this beat I was working on earlier today. It was okay. It wasn't too fantastic. It was okay. And I found this keychain noise in it, and I just couldn't get my head off of it. I was like, man, this is so fucking good. And it's to the ears of others, it'd probably be just bad, but I'm like, man, this is so. And then I ended up streaming it, and I started fucking looking for a bunch of them, right? And I have a big ass library full of them.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a good way to build up samples. Are there? Is there anybody you listen to that does stuff like this that you like, or?
Yeah, yeah. Like there's some guy called I mean, it's just all Poke who fucking recommends these motherfuckers. I like Nick Myra has a lot of good beats, and Kenny Beats does a bunch of good ones. And some of the guys that work on some of the like more like SoundCloud people, they cook up some really good stuff. But I don't like taking the whole machine that they have. Just a couple cog wheels. Do this, do that, and then make my own machine with all their cog wheels. You know?
Yeah. That's what you should be doing. Is like taking small pieces or whatever and kind of
Yeah. Oh, wait, were you doing something before I came in? Were you like doing
I literally just finished watching your. I literally just finished watching your thing.
Oh, okay.
That's why I thought you came in. Wait, why the fuck did you come in here?
Oh, because I ended my stream.
Oh. Oh, well, that was like really lucky timing. I had literally like just finished your convo and then Andrew Tate talking about it on his some like 10-minute podcast thing or whatever.
Oh no, yeah, it was because before I ended it, there's like maybe like 5 or 10 comments of people that said it. Destiny said this or whatever. So I was like, maybe he's watching or whatever. So whenever I ended, I mean, I turned on your stream, but I only had the chat open. I didn't see what you were doing. So I know, and I just joined Discord before I even checked.
Gotcha.
This is XC watches tiny. What does it mean, tiny? What's tiny? Are you tiny?
Yeah, that's tiny.
Oh Jesus!
Why? What happened? What is it?
That's a funny nickname.
Have you never called me Des Tiny before? I don't believe you.
No, I've never done that before.
Okay.
Man, so what chat do you read then?
My DGG chat. I have my YouTube chat open too. I read them both, but that YouTube chat is they're wild. They're wild in there. A lot of conservative people, a lot of anti-trans people, a lot of it's a wild world out there. My YouTube moderators are working full time.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, sometimes people have like they think certain things, whatever. I wanted to get too political, but it's like, sometimes it's just kind of like, why people so get so mad sometimes about things that like don't really affect them in like any way, right? And it doesn't and will never be a problem for them.
Nowadays, everything is kind of like, people think that everything affects everything nowadays. So that's kind of the issue. So everything today is kind of like wrapped up in this big battle for like what is like the soul of America. So some people are fighting for us to be kind of more this tradcon Christian nation. They want to take us back that way, kind of like I would say like the Trump people do. And then progressives are trying to accelerate us forward into this like hyper SJW country. So every issue becomes a new battleground that war is fought on. So traditionally you might think that like, well, why the fuck would you care if some woman is winning in, you know, like if a trans woman is winning in like swimming competitions? Who cares? Who even cares about women's sports or NCAA sports at all? Like who cares? But people will say like, well, this might just be one battle here, but it's part of a larger narrative that we have to fight against. If we let trans women in here, pretty soon trans women are going to be there, and then we're giving up this part of the culture, and pretty soon this is going to be on TV, and pretty soon teachers are going to be teaching our kids that, and we're losing like this culture war. So that's why everybody has strong opinions about everything.
Then why not? You don't want to say we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Why not fight the issues one at a time for what they're worth themselves, right? Just that one thing, 1-to-1, right? And not make like broad sentiments about a lot of things because of that. I don't know. It seems kind of odd to me.
Because we're actually back on that same thing that I spoke about earlier. There's like 3 levels that you can debate things on: the individual level, like fact-wise, the conspiracy level, or like the grand overarching narrative level. And people generally function at that grand narrative level, and that's what they're looking at. They don't want. It's not about Leah Thomas. Isn't about Leah Thomas. It's not even about trans people. It's about like what the overall moral character and direction of the United States, and that's what the battle's over. And every little individual culture war battle, it's not really about the individual thing. It's about the broader cultural battle. It'd be nice to debate over like every individual thing, but that's not what people are pushing for, really, in the left or right. People want the narrative to be about like the bigger cultural battle. Look at like you saw like the Jussie Smollett stuff. Did you ever keep up with that?
No.
Basically, black guy who faked white people putting a noose around his neck. There are still like, I think the BLM organization still supports Jussie Smollett to this day. But it's not because they care about the facts. It's just like the overall narrative. Like even though he was in court, he was convicted of lying to cops and everything. Everybody knows he lied. But people like the BLM organization still supports him because it's part of the overall narrative. You know.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know about enough to make a statement about none of this shit. But yeah, I think I get what you're getting at. It's just that like sometimes it's kind of hard because I'm like is it difficult to argue a point about something, right, without coming off or being shut up against that thing? Like, are there some issues that you can debate or whatever beyond without being like let's say like I'm homophobe or being like anti-gay or whatever the fuck, right? And I feel like a lot of times I get disappointed that people like fail there. Like it's like I don't know. It's just odd to me. Like Yeah. I know.
What do you mean? Like, is it possible to fight against a smaller point without feeling like you're against the whole narrative or something? Or
Well, it just sometimes, maybe it's just like perspective. Maybe I'm not enough in the field, and I don't watch enough. Like a lot of times, like people like argue certain points or certain about certain issues, right? But they're generally just, let's say, anti-gay or like anti-trans or whatever the fuck, right? And I was wondering if there's not a way to like sometimes like discuss or tackle these issues without being like anti that, because a lot of times it kind of comes across like that. It comes across like that to me. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean like you can't at all. That's right. Like I think I don't know for sure, but I think I'm banned from Twitch because of like transphobia. So like people consider me to be like transphobic because I don't believe that trans women and cis women should compete together. And like that's it. So I think if you cross just like one of these lines or you don't adhere strictly to like all of the ideology, then you pretty much get like completely fucked. So conservatives purity test over their issues, leftists purity test over their issues, and then everybody just kind of does that. It's just how it goes.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, just politics, I guess. Sometimes it's just kind of how it goes. I don't know. It's a little unfortunate, I guess. Bro, what is this Minecraft world you got there, man? Like, bro, are you like building a fucking civilization?
I'm just building my stuff, leveling
Bro,
up.
this is okay. I've never seen anything that is not chilling like this. This is not chilling. It's just not.
This is super chill. I feel
Okay,
chill.
there's nothing that is less chill than what I'm looking at right now.
I'm just leveling up my guy. Can I do that?
I mean, I kind of, I guess, but
Okay, cool.
bro, you built like Mesopotamia 3.0.
This isn't even like, dude, you should see some of the shit the other people on my server build. These guys build wild shit.
Oh wait, you got ants to build this shit for you.
No, I build all my shit because I'm not a fucking loser streamer. Okay, like you guys that get all the handouts. Okay. Show him the sacrifice altar. Oh, that's kind of weird. I don't even know how to get there. Some dude built an altar and then they put Hassan's dog in it. I don't know why. It's kind of demented.
Okay, that is really weird.
I think they killed it. The dog's not there anymore. There is a dog on a rope here. Jesus Christ. Oh, you did, wait, who's the reigning champion right now between you and Forsen?
I mean, he's got the record for like 4 seconds.
Wow. And you're okay with that? Just being the loser?
Yeah, I haven't been doing runs that much, to be honest.
So Andrew Tate was right about you? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, depends about what. Maybe he is right about a couple things, yeah.
Are you ever gonna go back? Wait, what are you even playing on stream now?
I mean, no, now I'm just gonna mind blown. I just thought that he was like some billionaire. After talking to you, I'm trying to face this reality that I might just be richer than him.
Yeah?
Yeah,
well, how do you get richer than him? Oh, because you're looking at the, because of what I said.
That's what you said.
I don't know how much he's, damn, just Google it. Fuck, that's how I, don't accuse me.
Nah, I'm good.
No? Okay, fine, yeah. You probably are richer than him. Good job. Congrats.
Thank you.
Make sure you remind him of that next time you see him, okay?
Good one.
Thanks, I try. This Destiny guy said you're poor. Yeah, exactly. Wait, do you have a fucking driver's license yet or not yet?
It's on the way slowly. I'm trying to get my car shifted here, but it's so many potholes. It's just gonna get destroyed. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the car.
Why
anyway.
the fuck do you have? Why do you have a car but you can't drive it yet?
I have 3 cars.
Wait, wow, why?
I have a McLaren 720S, a BMW M6, a fucking X6M, and a fucking Tesla Model 3.
Gotcha. But you can't drive any of them.
No. You know the feeling. I maybe you don't know this feeling because
of having cars and not being able to. No, I don't know that feeling.
Well, it's actually now that they mentioned it, it's actually been better than that. It's a patented, engineered experience. Okay, it's almost like an experience chamber.
Like you sit
Okay.
inside the car and you turn the air conditioner on and sit in the garage, or what do you mean by that?
You're almost there. Yeah, it's kind of like living in the at the computer all day, right? Doing whatever the fuck I always do, right? And then it's kind of like I turn the stream off. I'll eat something, whatever. I'll go in the garage, right? And I'll open the butterfly thing. I'll sit in the car. I'll turn it on, and I'll just chill on my phone a little bit, right? And it's like I won the lottery, but just for the day. And then I leave it, and I don't do it again for another whatever amount of days or a couple days maybe. And then I do it next time again, and boom, it's like I almost won the lottery again. Gives me like a little like cool high.
Interesting. Okay. Do you even care about like driving, or
Nope, not really.
why did you, of all the things to like invest money in, why cars? Why not like a sick house or something like that or whatever?
I mean, one, I can sit in it. One, it's expensive. It's tangible, and it looks cool, and people like it.
Gotcha.
So it makes me like it a little bit, but not that much. I'm usually pretty in tune with why I do something, and I just really like it. It makes me happy. I feel like I've kind of reached a point. Not trying to be like farming some BZs here again. I'm not trying. I'm trying to reach this point where I don't like I don't have to explain some of this shit to people for me to feel happy about it, or for it to make sense for me, whatever. It makes sense for me because of the thought itself originally, right? And of course, and with my lifestyle, it makes sense. Then I think the thought like kind of stops there.
Sure. Hey, I mean, if you like it, fuck it.
Yeah.
You don't really owe anybody an explanation, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes people will ask, and it's like, oh, I'll tell them, and they won't agree. But then I guess I'm Andrew Tating myself out of this one. Then I'm just saying, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
No. Yeah, that's fair. I just wasn't sure if you were like, for some reason you really liked cars or something. I don't know. I was just curious.
No, I mean, I've been doing a lot of like a good amount of like racing sims and shit like that. So I like it. So I like actually like driving it. Hopefully I get to go to the track because I have access to the track because of the car. Kind of comes with it. I could drive it around and just fucking vroom that shit. But in Quebec it's so bad because the roads are so fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roads are so fucked. So I don't know if I should ship it or not. I'm gonna make a decision like this week if I should ship it or not.
Damn. I've only been to Montreal. I've never been outside of that in Quebec, so.
Yeah. Yeah, this is decreases in value to depending on the whip. Yeah, I kind of looked into it, and the car that I got, the 720, it didn't like depreciate that much. Especially with how high the car was going, especially with the fact that McLaren dealerships do not sell above MSRP. So then I bought the car for its MSRP value, and that's it. And then boom, fuck it. Yeah, it doesn't depreciate that much, but yeah, it does appreciate. Yeah, I've been reading a lot of I've been looking at a lot of documentaries and a lot of information pools about this stuff. I got this one. It's like a buyer's market for cars. It's like a really, I don't know if you've seen it before. It's a very interesting thing.
Wait, what are you referring to? You're Amy. Okay, never mind.
It's an old
It's an old Destiny meme. Try not to pretend I'm the main character, okay? I'm trying to be humble. Fuck off. Do you ever watch any of DSP shit, independent of anything on my stream?
Yeah, I've watched some of the rundowns and the story of DSP type shit.
Yeah, what a character. You got wait, he actually got permabanned on Twitch. I don't even know what for.
I mean, bro, he was going off, like, I don't know. It seems like, to me, I didn't want to be rude about it. It seems like he didn't want to, like, let go of a certain lifestyle. Past, like, the prime. And then it's kind of like, it was just odd. I'm wrong, though. But I hope he's happy. I don't know.
Careful, he's going to put you in his next vlog. He already shit-talked me. So be nice.
Shit. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't buy too many extravagant shit or whatever. But I like just not all the time, just sometimes having like a little token of something tangible, right? They can just look at, like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean, especially because we live in like the computer digital world, so like nothing that we have is like real. I don't know if you're I always lose track of like when things started to change, but like when I was a kid, it was really cool to be able to open like your closet and like look at like all your games, or even like your strategy guides and shit you might buy. Like the physical, having the stuff was like really cool. And we don't have that
you
anymore,
always go back to it. You'd always open that box again. You know, you don't play these games anymore or whatever. But I'd always go back and open that box.
Yeah, or like the little booklets you'd have of like CDs for like music you listen to and stuff, like was always like really cool. But yeah.
Wait, this guy, Tom Crypto, with a NFT picture, says, thoughts on NFTs? You talk about NFTs here a lot? I think this is about to give me pure fucking cancer.
We've done NFT stuff here before, yeah?
Oh, I see we're morally flexible here too.
Dude, wait, say that again?
I said, I see we're morally flexible here too.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm morally 100% consistent. Careful.
Okay.
We love NFTs here. From, what was my sponsor's name, guys? I don't think they ever actually paid me out the bonus for people that paid for the NFTs. I think I got skamazed.
Oh no.
I think. I'd have to go back and check that. I feel like I didn't get paid out, but who knows. I got the flat fee that I got at least.
People say push him with they have this little lizard. Is that like the rioting fucking? What even is that? I can't even see it. The chat's kind of fast.
Push him with what?
They say push him and they put the little lizard.
Oh, either people want me to fight with you about your Gamba sponsor, or they want you to fight with me about my old NFT sponsor.
I can tell them, but the Gamba, I don't give a fuck. I've seen all the arguments. I'm tated up, and I'm the stone wall of it.
Yeah. Do people still fight you over it on your stream?
I get a dono here and there like a dumb fucks, but it is what it is.
Is it Steak that's sponsoring you?
Yep.
Damn, they're sponsoring every motherfucker in the area. Jesus. Even fucking Wes has a Steak sponsor, I think. Jesus.
Problem?
No, I don't give a fuck about Gamba sponsors, so I don't have shit to say.
Oh really? I thought you were gonna go off the fucking rails about it. I was like, yeah. I mean, I'm here right now. I'm not gonna fucking act like a bitch ass and just fucking dip out. I'm just gonna stay here and fucking.
I mean, I think I personally don't usually like gambling stuff, so I wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
I mean, I'm an absolute degenerate. I just cannot escape it. So I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, if other people want to, I mean, I don't care. I feel like there's a lot of kind of addictive, negative gaming related things. So just focusing on gambling, I don't know if I care that much. Gambling is pretty unique in that it's a pretty bad addiction. But I mean, people get addicted and shit to League of Legends and stuff, and nobody seems to care about that. So whatever.
Yeah, I do whataboutism type shit. Cause I've had a lot of whataboutism takes in the past. People don't like them, and they're right about it. So I think at the end of the day, it's I feel like the only thing overall is that the hoops that people will go through, like the mental gymnastics, to say that they don't like it or they don't agree with it, right? And as long as I remember that the point is that they just don't agree with it, that's the main point, and I'm chilling, Because sometimes people say a wide variety of things, oh, it's bad this, it's bad content, and I know for a fact I see them in chat. It's something that say this. They actually enjoy watching it. Right?
Yeah,
they say that because it's a hit at it, and it's another way to get at it. And I think it's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, I'm sure you figured this out, but one thing I notice is that like viewers don't usually know what they want. Like there will be segments that I'm gonna do on stream that I know are gonna be like really good. And I know they're gonna be popular, and people in chat are like, oh god, not this, don't do this. But like I'll be doing, I'll watch the viewership going up like the entire time, and it's like you guys are just fucking stupid. Yeah. But I think usually the biggest arguments I see on like LSF and shit are usually the advertising gambling to kids. That's the more one that I see. Oh wait, your stream got that age thing. Did you know that was coming in advance?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah.
I mean, they know I'm upset about it because it was a bug. It could have been a feature somebody was testing or some shit, and maybe I mean, it's not even a leak. It doesn't matter.
You don't have to leak it. Oh yeah, you don't have to leak it. I was
no. I'm just saying it could have been anything. It could have been like every account has like a number behind it, right? It could have been as easy as somebody who had like my number as like copy paste or whatever the fuck, right? My account.
You're saying Twitch did like a regional feature rollout basically, and your channel was just
or
the
a
one
test rollout on something, and they just put my number instead of whatever number and I just got unlucky. Yeah, maybe they test a lot of stuff. Like back-end wise, I assume, on my channel that they don't tell people about, like when it comes down to like chat stuff or whatever, and maybe it's just a glitch or some shit, or just an actual mistake. But they told me it wasn't gonna happen again. It was I shouldn't worry about it.
No.
Because that shit, when I had that, I was not happy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So why 19? Like, what even out there is 19 years old?
Nebraska, actually, the state that I'm from in the U.S. You're not an adult until you're 19. It's kind of weird, but yeah. But other than that, I've never heard of anything at 19 before.
It's so weird, bro. How do you even load this at good FPS with that big of a render range?
Who, me?
Yeah. Do you use a program?
No, we're fucking streamers. Don't we have like sick ass computers?
Bro, I got this fucking 10K PC. I just want to fucking kick it off the curb, man.
Did you get it from Artesian Builds?
Holy fuck, chill.
I'm just kidding. I got mine from Artesian Builds. I love my computer. I'm not being paid to say it anymore.
Oh no, I'm not. And my computer is really good. I mean, I was just kidding.
Okay.
I love it. My brother built it. He did a really good job. It's a really good computer. I don't know why like Java just fucking lags on all my devices.
Do you use one PC to stream or two?
One.
Oh, maybe that is it then.
Yeah, I gotta get 2 PC. I'm moving out this month anyway. I get a better setup.
Are you still gonna be in Quebec or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, I can leave whatever I want. I just it's just been a little easier overall. And people say, oh, he moved because of Gamba. I mean, I was talking about moving here for fucking months. Literally fucking months. I just need to catch a fucking break after moving house every month for fucking a year. I need a fucking, just a chiller, man.
Alright, Trainwrecks.
Yeah, good one.
It's all good.
I could have moved the day he moved with the same, if not better thing than he did. I refuse all of it, right? Because it makes sense at the time. You know, like, just, yeah, it didn't make sense. Now, and people say, oh, but it's only because of that. No, it's not. So I was like, yeah, I knew I was going home. I was like, yeah, I guess I could reactivate the thing that I already had going back when I was in the other house. I was like, fuck it, might as well just do it. I mean, bro, I'm not gonna explain this to anybody. Like, it's not even to explain it. I'm addicted to the most absolute, most humanly dog shit, brain rot things out there. Okay, It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh man, wait. Is Kimchi one of your mods? He says, Hook, this name was 6 months so you could get it on Twisted on Double Rainbow. Man, believe it or not, Double Rainbow is actually a good game. It's not like bad. If you're just gonna do buy-ins, it can't be on the fucking things you can afford. That game is just I've had like actual nightmares about that game. I've had like a bad dream about it.
What the fuck
Not
is
a
double
nightmare.
rainbow? Double rainbow? Is that like a
Game
gambling?
has it's a game it's a special game that has $75,000 spins.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then I just fucking one night I was doing pretty good, and I just started spamming it, and then I lost a bunch, won a bunch, lost a bunch, won a bunch, and after that I went down fucking 2.8 mil in one night, and I was like, I don't know, fuck, and I just wanted to fucking throw my computer out the window.
Well. I'd go to the bathroom, okay? If you're gonna stay, just don't say any racial slurs, alright?
Okay.
Be right back.
Yeah, you're right. That's his job. He's gotta make sure I'm doing it right. I'm not gonna entertain you guys. You guys are on some fucking obscure, like, third-party ass crack fucking chat, acting like you're like a superior memer because you use terms that this. You know what? I used to be against DDG chat because I thought it was elitist. Now that I see YouTube chat, man, I don't blame you guys, man. That shit is something else. Holy shit, man. Bro, what is like some of these shatters since I came here, I feel like I'm on Facebook. Like first name, last name, default fucking Gmail account picture, man, just typing the most ass crack messages with the most silly looking emoji, thinking that he has like some sort of mental superiority when this guy's got permanent brain fucking rot. It's absolute disastrous. I don't even know what I'm even looking at. Just something else. Crazy. Not being mean. It's just it's not even you guys' fault. I mean, it's by default your account like transfers to like a YouTube account if you have like a Gmail or some shit. So nobody fixes it. It just doesn't. It just feels odd. But like I said, I mean, no hate. I don't mind YouTube. It's just that what's up with the head of like products or whatever at YouTube? They keep like hiring new ones or whatnot, right? Like, what's up with that? What's up with that position? What's up with that job? Can anybody fill the shoes and actually fix this shit? Does anybody have a degree or experience that could go to work and actually start doing something? Yeah, what the fuck is Obama? Oh no, that's something bad. Oh my fucking god! Oh my god! I'm about to get fucking banned.
Wait, why are you getting banned?
Oh my god! I just fucking read the chat like a dumb fuck.
Did you say Obama?
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's just another way of saying Obama's name.
Bro, I'm googling right now. That's it. I just fucking. I've never seen the name before.
There's Donald Trump was saying his name once and then he said Obama. That's literally it.
Oh, okay.
What's the next big project you're working on?
I have a show with Ludwig. I want to get an actual good podcast running, or some like some like trial and error type shit, like more like a discussy type of thing. It sounds kind of dumb because I'm not a good talker, but I kind of want 2 podcasts. You know, I'm not just to trial them out and maybe like remove one or tweak them a little bit. I want more creative and fun. I don't know the whole idea, but it's pretty good. Just something more lighthearted, not but kind of serious, kind of fun, with really good that's really focused on the guest and the conversation. Not like some. I know that's like the goal of all podcasts, but like really finding good guests, or we're not doing an episode. Not like today's Monday, so it's episode 9 or something, right?
Yeah, like even Joe Rogan sometimes has like filler guests. You can tell, right?
Yeah, and it's like, bro, you know he's not. I just not do it if I don't get a good guest. That's about it. And I wouldn't mind having guests that come back over and over again if they're good and the topics are good, right? And today I was kind of memeing, more like a 1v1. I made a meme. I said, yeah, it's gonna be called fucking head to head or something, right? It's like a 1v1 debate type shit. But,
whatever. Are you doing anything long term with Pokey, or was that just like a one-off thing, or?
Yeah. I'm supposed to. We're supposed to get it all set up just because I've had fucking sleeping problems and whatever. It's been kind of a disaster.
Have you ever been on a normal sleep schedule?
Not the past 2 years. I mean, it was not bad before last 2 years.
Will it get ruined if you stay up late like one night?
Oh yeah, it would probably get ruined. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much you saw watch my stream, but I used to have like my sleep was like I would wake up at like 6 or 7 p.m. and then I'd go to sleep at like 9 or 10 in the morning. That was my sleep schedule for a long time. The only thing that ever, because I'd heard a ton of tricks for like trying to have a normal sleep schedule. The only thing that ever got me back to like regular, kind of where I'm at now, is like being hardcore about keeping all the blinds open. So like
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you don't black out.
No, because if I black out inside, I'll lose track of time and I'll revert probably really poorly.
Yeah. I have that downstairs as well. I have a little bit of a problem, but now I stopped putting the cardboard up.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Because it used to be so bad in the past. I don't know if there's a real condition on it. I've read about this, but it was so bad in the past that I actually unironically had like a reverse circadian rhythm. Like if I was like kind of tired at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, if I made it until like 9 o'clock at night when it was pitch black outside, I would be wide the fuck awake. Like I'm never going to bed at 10 o'clock no matter how tired I am, because as soon as it's night out, I'll be like wired. I can stay awake until sunrise every single time, and that would fuck me so hard. But now it's actually normal such that like when the sun is out, I'm awake, and then when it's nighttime, I can get like kind of sleepy, so it's nice. Being a normal human being.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think having my brother here helps a lot because he wakes me up in the morning. If I feel like I really need to be up tomorrow for like an event or some shit, like he'll wake me up. I'm pretty close to my brother, so it's kind of easy to like make it help me a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Fuck,
Yeah,
I remember the
good.
fucking stupid story you told me of. Holy Christ, I don't even remember what the event was, but you missed like 2 flights for it.
Oh, I missed 3 of them. I made Twitch pay for it too.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was really bad. I mean, yeah, that was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
I literally just kept telling Twitch to buy me a plane ticket, and then I would just ghost them for like a whole day, and then I would wake up and I'd feel bad, like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. And they're like, yeah, you can still make it to the event. And I'm like, okay, buy me another plane ticket, and then I didn't go again, and I did it another time,
Nice.
and I never went to the event. It was an absolute fuck up. Holy.
Wow, Sharo, thanks for the tier 4 sub, everybody. Ask about the Saudi event. Shit. Oh, did you get invited to that?
I don't think I was formally invited. Maybe it's something in my emails or something like that, or my agents that I ignored. But ever since like even before that, I knew already because of the riot game shit and the weather. I mean, everybody knows. Like, come on now, it's not like a. Yeah, that's a different thing. I like I don't want to be offensive or whatever, but I think sometimes you can say that something is like indirect or whatever. But maybe I'm wrong about this. It just kind of felt like the way it was showed to me anyway, or the way that I looked at it online, or I tried to like educate myself about. It looked pretty bad. So like, yeah, if a sponsorship like that happens, I'm just not gonna take it. This is kind of how it's been. Yeah.
Are you with Evolved, or do you have like a talent agency, or?
I'm with a hybrid of Evolved and somebody else.
Gotcha. When you're talking about like setting these podcasts and stuff up, do you have people working on this, or is this just kind of stuff that you're working on? Okay, gotcha.
They have a little bit. I should do a ayahuasca retreat. Dude, that's how you end up with fucking permanent dog shit, to be honest. Yeah, I love when people talk about psychedelics like they could just fucking do this, do that, and it's all gonna go well, man. Yeah, surely.
You gotta try it once, dude. That'll be your first podcast on ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Have you seen any good movies lately?
Not really. I didn't really enjoy. I enjoyed a little bit of the fucking. I enjoyed a little bit of the Batman, but not that much. It was like okay. Bro, not really, man.
Listen, if you ever get bored, there's a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once, okay? It's a good-ass film. You should see it.
Is that movie about drugs?
No, it's just a good, wholesome family movie, alright?
Okay. Bro, you're starting to sound like fucking Moon, man. You gotta cut that shit out.
Sound like Moon how? What does that mean?
That one liner you just did there? Blah, 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 right? They sound like Moon. Holy.
I don't even watch Moon. Damn. I'm sorry. I'll be careful, okay? Jeez. Sorry,
yeah,
dude.
I'm just saying.
Why did you call me meth guy on your stream?
Well, everybody needs to be somebody. Like
Yeah?
somebody needs to people need to like a good nickname.
Uh-huh. And I'm meth guy. Okay, thanks.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's not like bad.
True. Train said meth was a underrated drug, right? Seems like he had a lot of fun on it.
Yeah, surely. Nah, that shit is cooked up. Yeah, you don't do meth. I don't know why people meme about it. It's really bad, man. I don't know why. It's not a meme. This shit's fucking dog garbanzo. Don't do that.
Okay, well, there's a guy called Ab I have to talk to.
Yeah, I know he's been in chat.
Yeah.
Go good.
Do you want me to drag him in here, or do you want me to just call him separately?
Oh no, I don't want to. If he's gonna say something smart, I don't want to fucking me to corrupt this fucking discussion.
He has problems with it's related to the Andrew Tate combo, so. But it's up to you. I don't want to force on.
I'll literally mute until something arises that I may have a perspective on that seems valuable at the time. I'm trying to play a game of Dota and so it goes.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Ab, are you in my Discord?